It's okay, Tom. Technology's hard.
I know when you get out of it for a while. Good evening, anybody that happens to come in.
Dang,
Um,
Tom, you got 1,450 subscribers. Who would do that? I
I
mean,
don't.
Mm.
I would, but
I used to put out good content,
You got more subscribers than I do. Holy smokes.
but I don't have any watch time.
I
I
don't
don't either.
They took away my monetization. They took away I think my Google account is even put away until I mean it can start up again, but
I just haven't been turning out any content. So
me neither.
anyway,
I still can't find you on YouTube.
okay. Craig says, "I'll watch you, Tom." Thank you.
Oh, Craig's here?
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Well,
Hey,
Hi
Tart
Tara.
Gary.
I can't
Hey
find you
guys.
on. Hi, Tara.
Hey Todd.
Hang on a minute.
Where is.
Let
Okay.
me find it.
Oh,
Hey guys.
I found it. I found it.
Okay.
I'm good.
Hang on a minute. Let me find it.
Everybody's coming in now. There's Anissa. Hi guys.
Well, I'm glad you made it in. Hey, Anissa. Um. Anyhow, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's in a reasonable weather. For Nikki,
Oh,
she's
it was
got.
beautiful here today.
It
I mean, we
was
were
here too.
outside in t-shirts. We were working outside all day. I mean, it had to be 65 or 68, wasn't it, Jim? It was very nice.
By tomorrow night we're supposed to have between 14 and 18 inches possible.
Yeah, I see it. Because we watched because we were watching the Eagle River weather because we want to see how the snow totals are. Yeah, I see you have a big storm. They're supposed to have like,
Yeah.
I don't know, is it 12 to 16 or 14
Yeah.
to 18, something
We'll
like that.
we'll probably end up with only about 10, but or 8.
Yeah, but it's still pretty cold up there. It ain't melting at all,
And
really, is
it's
it?
and it's blowing like a son of a gun.
Yeah.
Gary went out drove all the way to Dollar General just so he could get my pop for me today. So
He's a good guy. I don't care what you say about him, Nikki. um,
he came home with chips and pop and nacho cheese, and he's like most people in this weather go and get milk and bread and good stuff. He went out and got snacks.
Yesterday it was real nice here too. It was warmer. Today it's been clear and sunny, but the temperature's been just on the edge where you need to have shoes on. Yesterday I was running around barefooted outside,
Yeah, I
shorts.
think it's supposed to get colder here now the rest of the week, but it's going to be raining tomorrow.
They don't have fire ants?
Don't you have fire ants there, Tom?
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, like in Florida, Jim will not go anywhere barefoot because of the fire ants. We don't go barefoot here either.
We got too many fire ants here.
Jim, if
Hi,
you
John.
weren't such a tight ass, you would have like one of the pest control people come out and spray your yard.
Well, there's something good about fire ants, though.
Hey,
You know what
John.
fire ants eat? Termites.
Don't mind me. I just don't know what a vacuum tastes like.
Yeah. We'll address that in just a few minutes. I was waiting to see if anybody who all comes in. But yeah, we have our pest control people come out and they put it's like pellets. It looks like fertilizer, and they do the whole yard, front and back. And our neighbors they have it done at the same time, so we have good coverage.
Honestly, like here, we don't like in Florida when Jim's parents are in Florida. They had to do it because you get those mounds all over. It isn't that bad here. Jim says he's seen them, but honestly,
No, I've seen them. I work on a car or something. They're all over my neck biting me.
yeah, but we don't have like those
Ouch.
fire ant mounds in their yard, and we don't really get those.
No.
We do have those things are called those like
Those
velvet
killer
ants or
cow
those
killers
cow
or whatever.
killers or whatever. I've never been
The
stung
wingless
by one of
ones.
those. I guess it's bad.
They're very pretty.
It's
They're real
And
bright
those
colors.
things will send a person to a hospital. The fire ants, they'll send somebody to the hospital in a hurry.
Yeah,
And
I got
her.
hit by fire ants in Florida. You get like little blisters where they, but then if you get bit again or stung again, then it's worse, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah. Well, I did it 3 days. I was digging a sump pump for my dad's pool because well, it's a long story. Anyway, I'm digging a hole next to my dad's pool in Florida. And the first, I'm doing it in sandals. Well, the first day I got bit up, and I'm like, well, these ain't that bad. They're just little stings.
You were
Whatever.
like, oh, these people are weak.
Second day, it was a little more irritating, and then the third day I had these real bad blisters and I was sick. So it was like the toxin builds up.
Yeah.
And now, right away when I get bit, I swell up and get the big red sores. And
He's
stuff.
a big wimp.
Well, that's also because you're getting old, Jim.
Well, I think you overexpose it, you develop an allergy.
Todd and I, we probably have reactions to stuff now that we didn't when we were kids.
We were right before we left Wisconsin. We went to an estate sale, and so it was summer. No, it wasn't right before. It was the summer we were leaving, so maybe it was like June because the pine pollen was very bad where we were at. I mean, the road was all yellow. Everything was yellow.
It was a blizzard.
It was
You
yeah.
could see.
It was like
visibility
coming. It was like a pine plantation is coming down like snow. It was really bad. Ever since that, even down here, any kind of pollen, he gets all like stuffed up. He
Yeah,
can't
and
take
pollen
it.
never. I would laugh. People would be like, "Oh, pollen." I'm like laughing. I'm like, "Pollen don't bother me none." That one after that being in that like pollen storm, it just overloaded it, and now it's like I get a whiff of pollen in the summertime. My nose is running. My throat starts getting real. Feels like I got sand in my throat.
Listen, in the spring and in the fall, everybody's cars down here and trucks are some shade of green. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
The pollen is so thick. I mean, when you live in God's country, you have to have some little bit of.
Only thing that I mean, it doesn't even bother me. We got a black walnut. We got to cut down. That thing when it's like doing its pollen, it is real stinky and it does irritate my throat a little
Yeah, it
bit.
gets me too.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what though? It's like moose turd pie, but it's good. You ever heard that joke?
No, I haven't heard that.
You never heard the moose turd pie joke?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, so this guy joins. I'll tell it real quick. This guy joins this wagon train or whatever, and the first night they're having a meal, and the guy goes, "This food's lousy," and everybody laughs. He's like, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Guess what? You're the new cook." Because if you in the wagon train, if you complain about the cooking, you're the new cook.
Yeah.
So okay, so he's cooks for about a year. So he's like, I got to get out of this job. I hate this job. So he goes out and he finds some moose turds and he bakes them in a pie for dessert. Well, I passed around, okay, here's the dessert. One of the guys sticks his fork in, he takes a big bite, and he goes, this pie's moose turd pie, but it's good. So anyway,
Nasty. Okay. Let's talk about the topic of discussion, and then we'll go back to whatever to the
I thought
loose
fire
ends.
ants was a discussion.
No, I think it's how Coke tastes like space, but how does anybody space taste like?
Okay, as you know, Coke has come out with a new product, and it's called Starlight. This is the little cans. That was the Coke Zero, and this is the regular one. And it's called Starlight. And according to Coke, give me a second. It's not immediate. It says, unlike cherry or vanilla, it's not immediately clear how Starlight is supposed to taste. So, according to the statement put out by Coke, it's supposed to be like staring at a starry sky while sitting around a campfire.
If Coke's making me see stars, I don't know if you should be drinking too much.
I know.
Yeah. Well, back in the days, Coke was because it had Coke.
Yeah.
So I ran out. And by the way, all you resellers, these a box of 10 of these is selling for like $25 plus shipping.
Oh, really?
Or $35 with free shipping. And I paid $4.90 for 10 of these, a case of 10.
Wait, before you go ahead, wait.
What?
Before you go ahead, is this the diet version or the
I know.
full sugar version? Because they made
Right.
both. They
I
made
have a
both.
0.
Okay, we're gonna do with. I'm gonna do the regular version first.
I tried. My husband or my daughter got the regular version. I got the 0.
So I got the wine glass out. Oh, first of all, it's pink.
Oh, you're getting all into it. I just got a bottle of it, and I'm just gonna take a swig.
Well, see, they didn't have bottles. It's pink.
Our Dollar General only had bottles, and that was the only place that had it
Well,
today.
one of those bottles are selling for like $6 and change plus shipping.
20
And you
ounce
probably paid
bottles.
$2 for yeah.
Oh,
So I don't know whether you can tell it or not, but it's got a pink tone to
Oh,
it.
Brandon was selling the Mrs. Buttersworth Fruity Pebbles syrup, and I think he was getting like almost $26 a bottle for it.
well, can I drink it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, she's drinking a soda, but
Oh, the Mrs. Buttersworth, though, I'll drink it.
The guy at Dollar General told my husband it tastes like caramel aftertaste, which I can kind of taste like a caramel aftertaste.
It's kind of flat.
Yeah,
The taste is flat. You know, like Coke has kind of a little bit of zing to it.
yeah. Coke has a burning.
they're not
That's right.
trying to rebrand New Coke, are they?
Oh,
It's
no.
good though.
Listen,
Are you
I like
good?
Coke,
Are you seeing
New
stars?
Coke, Diet Coke.
No,
All this
you
other
don't
crap
see
is
any
nasty.
stars.
Watch out, Tom. You know what I heard? If you drink too much of it, you'll start voting like a Democrat.
I wouldn't.
I don't see any stars.
You don't see stars and you vote for Biden. Sorry.
Yeah, my daughter said she saw stars so fast she had to put her motion sickness glasses on.
Oh boy.
I don't.
Well,
I don't taste any campfire.
no, it has a caramely taste to it, and kind of a fruity. I don't know,
It's
kind of like a
supposed to have
fruity
like a
taste.
raspberry taste, a raspberry taste.
Yeah, let's
I
be fancy. Put your pinky out.
You see, this is 2000 from 2000. I don't. It tastes like a flat cherry Coke to me.
Yeah, it's got fizz, but it's not.
It tastes like a flat cherry Coke.
It
Do you
doesn't have
like
the
it?
burn like a
Do you
regular
buy
Coke.
it?
I wouldn't buy it again.
Yeah.
That's probably the reason it's a limited edition.
Is it
And
cold?
the reason it's, pardon
Did
me?
did you make sure it was cold before you drank it?
Oh, it's been in the refrigerator since.
Yeah, mine's
o'clock.
cold.
Because I mean, I used to drink a lot of Coke, but it tastes like shit if it's warm.
It doesn't taste like crap. It tastes good. I'll drink the whole bottle of this, but would I buy it again? Nah, probably not.
No.
I don't think I've
Maybe
seen
the
it
Diet
here.
Dr. Pepper.
Summer wants to know what our rating is on it.
I'd give it an 8. I mean, it's good. I don't see stars or
Yeah.
anything, but
I don't see anything special about it. It will go because if I won't drink something with a Coke with a fruity taste, I'd get a cherry cola.
yeah.
I'll give it an 8 because it's okay.
But it's not. I tried the regular and the 0. I didn't taste much difference between the two, so the 0 is good. The 0 doesn't have that diet aftertaste either.
Right. Now, see, that's what I was expecting. I was waiting on an aftertaste.
No, there's no aftertaste with the 0.
There's even with this one, there's not any aftertaste.
No.
You're right. You get a strong caramel taste.
Yeah. It's good. I don't get me wrong. It's
Yeah.
good.
I wouldn't buy it again though, because I'm not into. I'm either going to drink Coke or Diet Coke.
I'm Diet Dr. Pepper fan.
Diet Dr. Pepper, or I'm going to go to the extreme to a Sun Drop or a Cheer Wine, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. But if you like a citrusy kind of pop, it's a good pop. But I'm not that kind of a pop drinker. So
Okay, wait. Pour some bourbon in it, Tom.
There you go.
and
I'll
then
put the
try
vodka
it.
in mine.
I don't
That's
have any
that's
liquor. I don't have any liquor in the house.
oh, okay.
You know, you pour some Southern Comfort in it.
Yeah.
That'd be tasty as hell, probably.
Hi, Summer. Hi, Mike. Hi, Maggie. Hi,
Um,
Texas.
I I just don't. They don't have pop down there in the South. Y'all have soda. I have so many Yankees living around me, and I hang out with so many Yankees. It's like pop.
We have pop.
I never
Um,
called it pop. I always called it soda.
I've always called it pop. Pop,
I
pop.
always called it Coke. What kind of Coke do you want?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
want a Sprite? Do you want an orange? Do you want a
Yeah.
Coke? Do you want a
Now,
Dr. Pepper?
It used to
What
be I
kind of
drank
Coke do you
Pepsi
want?
all the time.
now, one of the
Everything was, I'm
reasons,
gonna get a Pepsi. Now I might end up with a Mountain Dew or something, but
why I only drink Diet Dr. Pepper. This might be too much information, but one of the reasons why I only drink Diet Dr. Pepper is it's the only one that doesn't bother my tummy. Every other any other diet pop, except for diet root beer, gives me the shits.
What?
So tomorrow I'll let you know.
You're okay.
Oh,
Just
24. We'll do a 24-hour follow up.
Maybe she'll be seeing stars while she's in the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the toilet. Maybe that's what just see the stars. I'm just sitting on the toilet getting your heart out.
I don't see anything. I don't get anything from it about what it has to do with space. You know, not at all.
Did you guys miss me on your shows?
Yeah, you know, good bourbon shouldn't be mixed with anything. You're supposed to drink it, sip it on ice. Mike. I am not trying nothing with Crown Royal.
Nikki will be
Supposed to-
filling
well,
up
Crown Royal,
space with shit.
Crown Royal, you put enough on it to flavor the ice. That's about it.
I did get a
Just come on.
3-liter empty Crown Royal bottle, and I sold it for like $55. It wasn't even old. I don't know.
You know-
I don't get it.
I got a storage unit one time. It had a bunch of empty liquor bottles in it, and
Yeah.
I sold the hell out of those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I got a Pappy Van Winkle at an auction, and I knew about the Pappy Van Winkle bottles because Netflix has this crime show, and one of them is about this where they stole all that bourbon in Kentucky. Here, it was really interesting. Anyway, he goes, "Yeah, and the empty Pappy Van Winkle bottles sell for like $200-300." I'm like, huh. I looked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's right. Come to an auction. Here's an empty, hand-numbered Pappy Van Winkle bottle, and I think I sold it for about $250.
Good
and
God.
that somebody who knows the reseller picked it up. And
Nikki, I was going to gurgle it, you know, like when you do wine to taste the wine, but you have to get me so tickled I can't do it. I spit it all over my monitor. I'll be right back. Hang on a second.
Is it hitting you, Tom? No.
Talk about yourself.
Well, and that's another thing. Like
Tom's already going to the crapper.
Yes,
Stars.
but that's another thing, like a citrusy pop, like a Mountain Dew and that kind of stuff. If I drink too much of it, it bothers my belly too. So we'll see how this goes. Maybe I'll come on the morning show tomorrow and let y'all know how the night went.
Oh no.
I'm gonna eat nachos for supper. So.
Probably be able to smell you from Texas to Duluth. Sorry, Nikki. I'm just teasing.
I've noticed more and more now that I'm losing weight. I'm getting a turkey neck, so now I'm gonna have to start wearing turtletnecks.
Oh, please. You're cute.
Pretty soon
Keep
I'm gonna
losing that weight. Don't worry about losing weight.
Pretty
We all
soon
need to do that. Except
Pretty soon
Craig, he's skinny.
I'm gonna have to
Sorry,
go gobble gobble.
I need to get rid of the rest of that. And I wanted Roberta to taste it. She gets a dollar store lemon pie out of it. I don't know.
So it's kind of like caramely and raspberry
Yeah.
kind of mixed.
Well, I don't
Okay.
even get a strong raspberry. It's just like a
citrusy.
citrusy,
Citrusy.
a cherry or something like that.
It's good. Yeah, it's like a cherry. Yeah, citrusy cherry kind of. Yeah, yeah. It's good though. I mean, I would recommend trying it.
I wouldn't buy it. I mean, I won't go out and buy it again because
God.
it's not just.
It's not your thing, but
I
it's
don't like
good.
sweet drinks, and this. I mean, I don't like cherry Coke or any of that, cherry Pepsi or whatnot. But
So
she
it's
got
okay, but it's not. You don't write your mama about it and stuff.
No,
it's okay, but like I said, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy it again.
I'm not going
So
to miss it when they take it away.
Yeah. But like I said, if you can find it, it's selling for some pretty good money on eBay. Since
Yeah.
I think all of y'all are eBayers. Now
Probably
this,
sell pretty good on Amazon too, especially because it's a limited time. So stock up on it for when they take it away.
So I don't want to bust the mood or anything,
go ahead.
but are we decadent as Americans that we're just sitting here chatting about a new flavor of Coke while Russia is invading eastern Ukraine?
Well, we're
Did they
pretty
start?
different.
Did they start invading it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
they did. Yeah, that's
they
gonna
went
come.
into
Okay,
the
okay. The
complicit
director's over there going,
territories.
stay with the segment, and then we'll go to Ukraine.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Stay with
sorry.
Coke.
I didn't mean to die. I didn't mean to.
He's
I'm gonna
over there.
Google that though, because I've been outside. I didn't know they actually started today.
He's over
Well,
there.
they've been picking at it. They're picking at it.
Yeah.
I know you're the separatists and stuff, but we'll don't digress. We'll let Tom go back to Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
this is
Craig. Sorry, folks. Okay. Never mind.
now
Way to go,
this is the Coke Zero. Now we have Carolina Coca Cola Carolina, which is like the largest Coke distributor in the world here in Charlotte.
Mhm.
Of course.
I think they distribute up there around you, Nikki. Back when the Coke Zero came out and all the commercials were like, Coke Zero tastes just like Coke, Diet Coke. I called one of the dads that was a Cub Scout leader. Is a muckety muck up at Carolina, and actually it's Carolina Bottlers is what it's called. And I said, look, I drink Diet Coke. It tastes nothing. Coke Zero tastes nothing like Diet Coke does.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Really? That's your opinion? I said, yeah. It's got a nasty aftertaste, in my opinion.
They changed the formula of it now, though.
Yeah, they changed it again.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this is the Coke Zero. It looks the Starlight Zero.
Mm-hmm.
It looks just like the rest of it does. It smells just like the other one does.
I thought the Zero was good. I didn't get an aftertaste either.
I actually like the Zero better than to do the other one
Yeah.
because like I said, the other one, the regular tasted flat,
Mm-hmm.
and this one actually.
Yeah. Let me mute that.
Yeah, I like the Zero. It was good.
If I had to choose between the two of them, I would take the Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, dude, I tried to gurgle it like you do when you're doing wine, but this crowd keeps getting me tickled, or I see something in the chat that gets me tickled. I'm about to spit it all over the thing.
Swish it around.
But like I said, I don't get. God, I would like, and if a Coca-Cola person happens to see this,
Mm-hmm.
I would love.
You could sponsor us.
I would love to have head of the marketing that came up with this drink and the muckety muck that approved this drink and ask him, what the hell? You spent hundreds of millions of dollars on $100 million probably developing this thing and marketing it. And it's not worth it. What was the deal behind it? Because I don't get stars. I don't get campfire. I was expecting it to have maybe like an oak flavor to it, something like that, or a smoky taste to it.
Well, it was kind of like the blue M&Ms.
Yeah.
They don't taste any different than the orange or red or green or yellow.
Mm-hmm. They're just a different color.
It's the blue M&Ms. They gotta experiment.
Well, I would recommend people trying this. It's good. I like it. And if you like a fruity kind of caramely drink, I would recommend it. It's good.
Now I'm gonna take that back, Nikki. I just started getting an aftertaste to it, and it's got.
I didn't think it had an aftertaste.
I'm getting a.
Well, like other than the caramel, but not like a diet aftertaste that you usually get.
No, but it's got a. This one's got like a little bit of a zip to. I mean, not a zip. It's just about almost tasted bitter.
Really?
Yeah, but you got to remember one thing. I'm drinking out of aluminum cans.
I'm drinking out of a plastic bottle.
And I don't care what anybody says. It does make a difference.
It does.
I see all this,
prissy,
Nissy going on in here, but if I'm going to drink anything, I would rather have an ice cold beer.
Well, I would recommend everybody to at least try it.
No, I don't think I get the caramel, but I don't get the salted part of it. Yeah, that's really got to me. That's really got a nasty aftertaste.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think so.
It takes a minute to kick in. So
I didn't get an aftertaste.
If there's a choice between this and a Diet Dr. Pepper, because it has sort of a cherry flavor to it, I would take the Dr. Pepper. But
that's because it's a sweet one.
That's the only thing they got, I'll drink it. So there it is. Hi, Karen. They're okay.
Hi, Karen.
I'm kind of spacey. I've always been spacey. Now I like watching. I've always watched like the NASA stuff, the moon, the Apollo rockets taking off, Star Trek, Bab 5, all the sci-fi type stuff. I don't get nothing spacey about this.
How would you know what space tastes like?
I didn't get the space.
I don't know. It's as John said up at the beginning, it's a vacuum.
I thought maybe it would have like Pop Rocks in it.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I love Pop Rocks.
I thought you're supposed to mix Pop Rocks and Coke. Isn't that supposed to kill you or something? Didn't they used to say that when we were kids? Like, if you ate Pop Rocks, don't drink soda or it'll kill you.
I never heard that.
I had friends that pass out from drinking Coke and taking an Anacin at the same time. Y'all remember Anacin? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I'm sure the kids over here in the chat don't know what I'm talking about.
Craig said Tommy used to the bottle.
Yes, y'all used to have to mix your headache powders up.
Yeah. I just right, Craig. I don't get space out of it. Maybe whoever developed this. Now, mind you, if you want to send me a few cases of it, I'll be glad to accept it. This is not a sponsored video, by the way.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll be spending any more money on it.
Do they sell them in 12 packs?
All they have here is the little cans.
Yeah, at the Dollar General that my husband went to, all they had was the 20-ounce bottles.
I can't say I noticed. Honestly, I didn't hear anything about it, and I didn't notice them because I was at Walmart today. I see that new thing they got where it's Coke mixed with coffee, which does not sound very good to me. But
that don't sound good to me. But
yeah, I'm not much of a coffee drinker anyway.
Me neither. I called the Coke distributor today, and he said Walmart has it, So
Dr. Craig over here, he says you have to pair it with a 1,000 milligram gummy, and you get the space effect. Maybe that's what the Coke people were doing. They were smoking a little bit before when they
Well,
came up with this formula.
when you said we were supposed to taste like space and we're supposed to see stars and stuff, I thought maybe they brought back the cocaine and Coke.
That's right.
CBD Coke.
You know, I think they missed the mark on it. As far as the description goes and whatnot, you know, they should have called it Cherry Coke Light. But it doesn't have the Coke flavor, right, Nikki?
No,
I don't get any Coke in it all.
no, not really. Other than, can you hear me? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Other than the like caramely kind of flavor in it, yeah.
Right. But anyway, so there you have it. Would I buy it again if they don't have any of the other products I drink? I would. Would I go out of my way to buy it again? Because I specifically went to the Walmart to get this. Because Roberta was saying, hey, you know, the Cokes came up with this. And then she started reading their description about, you know, it's supposed to be like sitting around a campfire looking at the stars. I'm thinking, well, this should probably be some pretty good stuff.
I didn't get that feeling either. I didn't get that feeling either.
I just didn't get it. Like I said, Roberta says it tastes like one of those cheap lemon pies that you get at the dollar store. You know what I mean? So she's picking up on the citrus that you're picking up on.
Yeah, I taste a little citrus.
So there you have it. I'll give the regular an 8. I'll give the 0 a 5. Because if it wasn't for the aftertaste, it'd be okay. So there you have it. That's the Queen City Picker opinion of the space drink.
Well, I gave it an 8. So Coke will sponsor me. They won't sponsor you.
Okay. Actually, when I was buying this evening, I asked the girl that was servicing she wasn't a Coke person. She was the Walmart person. I said, "You'll have the Coke Starlight?" She says, "Yeah, it's over there." And she pointed that to me. I said, "Do you have anything bigger than these?" She says, "You'll want the little cans like this." And I said, "Have you tried it?" She says, "Yeah."
I'm trying to think. The taste. The taste reminds me of something though, and I can't think of what it is.
Well, all of you people, I was sorry. I was seeing what Maggie was saying in there. Hey, Maggie, I didn't see you in there.
Okay.
Go buy you a bottle and try it for your own self, because I'm old. You know, I'm set my ways. I like Coke, Diet Coke. I don't go for all these crazy things. Now, I do like a RC Cola.
Oh yeah, RC Cola is good
because it's not real sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there you go. There you have it. I hope if anybody has any questions about it,
Hi, Bum Crack Picker.
I don't see anything in it, so they filtered it pretty good. So
see, I knew Bum Crack would come in eventually.
Todd, you're psychic. You said Bum Crack will be in here.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
He's always here.
No, he's not. But
brother, we'll have to start referring to Todd as Brother Tom. Instead of Brother Todd, instead of like a sister so and so. She has her palm reading and psychic shops. Todd can
Hi, Carol.
Hey, Carol.
Well, I would recommend people to try it at least. I wouldn't buy a whole 12-pack at first, but go get a bottle of it and try it.
It's not bad. It's not. It doesn't have a funky taste to it like some of the crap they come out with.
Yeah.
But it's just not something I would personally go out and buy.
It
Another
didn't excite
chance?
me enough to drink it all the time, though. It's not like, it's a new kind of pop. Yum, good.
Yeah. Bum crack was bringing treasure down. Oh wow.
Well,
Okay, let me tell you what. Somebody uses that T word again in my chat, and I'm going to ban you.
what's
What's
that?
the T word?
Maggie's throwing that T word around.
What's that?
Taxes.
Oh, taxes.
Oh,
I haven't even looked at ours.
Anyway, so there's that. I hope that was entertaining to you. Todd, you mentioned the Ukrainian situation. Are they still hanging out at the border?
From what I read, it looked like they sent in peacekeeping troops into those two regions. He's recognizing them as independent. There's two regions at Donetsk and something that starts with an L.
Yeah, separatists that want to go back to the Russian way of life. But
I'm wondering how many of those people are really there, because having spent 3 weeks there, people were glad to be out of that regime. Yeah, Maggie.
yeah,
That's what Mike says.
but I visited Slovakia in October for a very short time in Bratislava,
Right.
and the common people there at least had a place to live. Russia provided a housing situation. And now the Austrians are coming across the border and buying up all the properties. And the people that are still in Slovakia, they can't afford those prices now. So I can see how Eastern Ukrainian people would not have minded being back with the Russian Federation like they were before, because things are so different now. You know, they can't afford the housing and so on. So I don't know.
Well, the same thing applies here. People can't afford the housing, the rent. The rents, even the slummy places are renting for way too much money than they can, because they can get it.
Right.
But when we were there, and which it's been a long time since we were there, it was 2000. Russia, we were in Russia, and then we were in Ukraine.
Yeah.
The build outside of those apartment buildings look horrible, but inside, these people really fixed them up.
Yeah, they treated them like homes.
Yeah,
because they were.
because that's the only way they could express themselves. They couldn't. They couldn't. I don't know. That's how they expressed themselves, and they entertained a lot. The couple that we stayed with when we were getting the twins, was that the twins or was that Sergey? That was Sergey. We ate off a different set of china every morning, and we were there a week. Every morning, a different set of china. I mean, really nice, fancy china, not Walmart. And our translator said, Arena she's playing house. She's using all this china that she's got.
So was Ukraine separate in 2000 or not yet?
Yeah, it was already separate.
Yeah, they went back into the late 80s, right?
Well, when did the wall fall?
Early
Was that
90s,
like
I think.
88?
Yeah,
No.
it was the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Because when we were there, they were still. When we were in the Ukraine, everybody we dealt with was a woman. The judge we dealt with was women. And in Russia, everybody was women. And I said to our translator, I said, does men not work over here because we've dealt with is women, or is it because we're in small communities and whatnot? Our the judge who was sitting behind the desk filling out paperwork, she said she busted out laughing. Now, before she was saying stuff to our translator, like our translator was interpreting what we were saying to her, but she understood. Right then, I knew she understood English, and but she's like, "Niet, niet," and our translator said that she said, "Men don't work here; the women do all the work," and it was. But they were. I bet during the Russian time when they had plenty of money, these towns were beautiful because all of them had parks down the middle, like your streets. There would be a park down the middle and traffic going one way on one side of it and the opposite direction on the other side. But it was all in disrepair when we were there. And it was kind of sad. But, people were just trying to do like everybody else in the world does. They were trying to get by the best they could.
Jim used to be in charge of all those Russians. They were working on that condominium project up in Wisconsin. And they said, oh, yeah, like your roads here, it's so nice. It's completely different. Yeah, they'd come here. They'd work for the summer. And because the U.S. dollar was worth so much, then they would take that home with them. Or send it home or whatever they did.
Mike, I agree with you, too. I agree with you. It's all about that damn pipeline. And see, that's what's going to get nasty is because apparently a lot of the Eastern European countries are backing the Ukrainians because they need the gas. They need that natural gas line.
Yeah, all of Europe needs the natural.
Yeah, but it's Russian. It's Russian. It's Russian fuel coming through that pipeline. It's not Ukrainian, is it?
Well, Ukrainians already got all these natural gas lines that they supply gas to.
Part of the problem is, and on both sides of our party, if you really look into it, the amount of donations that Ukraine gives to our politicians, it's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not talking one party or the other. I mean, both sides they both take a lot of money from Ukraine.
When we were in Ukraine, we had this, and I've got a video somewhere. I'll have to transfer it to digital, but there is a war memorial, and when you go for the Afghan war, when they were at war with the Afghans,
yeah,
and you go inside, and there's a part. It's called the memorial, and it's a round room, and it's got these strings running from the wall to a point in the center of the room, and it's got all these pictures of boys, and that's what they look like. They look like boys that died in the war with the Afghans. And then I find out that the United States was supplying the Afghans with weapons and bullets and whatnot, and then I felt really bad about it. But I mean, they did. There was thousands of pictures of these boys. I mean, if they were
it's mandatory. They have to serve in the military because it's mandatory. They have to serve in the military. Guys over there, like, do you go to college before you serve, or do you do it? Do they go to? I don't know. I know, like those guys that come to the U.S. Was it 2 years mandatory? They had one that didn't. They had one that didn't go back. Went to Chicago and got in Chicago where he couldn't get deported.
Well, what
and the Russians were looking for him because he had to serve military. What'd you say?
Wasn't one of the Stallone movies about?
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. What, Tom? How could you have missed that Rambo movie where Rambo's helping the Afghans?
Rambo helping the Afghans.
I am proud to say I've never seen a Rambo movie.
Oh my God!
What?
Well, you're not American if you haven't watched Rambo.
Crazy.
I don't care for those kind of movies.
Did you
You
watch
should watch
Rocky?
it.
Did you at least watch Rocky when
I
Rocky
did
had to
watch
fight the
Rocky.
Russian?
Did
Adrian.
you watch Apocalypse Now at
No.
least? Oh
My
my
daughter,
God,
my
Tom.
daughter one time was like, I ain't watching Rambo. That's stupid. I can't even believe you want me to watch this stupid movie. We started watching it. She was into it. She loved it.
I don't like war movies.
Oh,
But yeah,
And I just
my
about didn't.
point
Hey, listen,
my
I did
point
not.
was
I just about didn't go see Forrest Gump because all they showed was the Vietnam part of it.
huh.
And my best friend went and saw it. He said, "That's just a small part of it. I'll buy your ticket. If you don't like it, I'll pay for your ticket."
Mhm.
Roberta and I went and saw it, and and I liked it. But I just don't like war movies.
Oh, I don't feel bad. Jim's trying to force me to go see that new dog movie with him at the theaters.
No, but back to Afghanistan though. Afghanistan is the battlefield where the United States defeated the Soviet Union because the Soviet Union went broke fighting United States aided troops in Afghanistan. It was Vietnam version 2, except this time it was the Russians. Just like the Russians were trying to drain our resources in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Now we were doing it to the Russians, except the Soviets, except this time we won. That's really what led to Gorbachev with the country going broke. It was they just spent too much money in Afghanistan. Of course, we learned nothing from this. Went back into Afghanistan and did the
Yeah.
same damn thing. And I honestly, I hate to say this, we're pushing on Russia. I don't know. Who would you bet on? If you were in Vegas, would you bet on the U.S. or Russia? I don't know who I'd bet on. So I mean, they are poking a bear, and I'm not sure we can beat that bear. And if China throws in with either side, it's over. So I mean, if China's sitting on the sideline watching this, if the United States and Russia go at it, China's going to pick one side or the other. That's going to be it. If
They're
they
going to pick us because we owe them too damn much
even
money.
if we win, the Chinese are going to leave political advisors there to tell us how to run our country. We lose either way.
Yeah.
This is very frightening.
Oh, did you see where Putin got his $600 million yacht out of Germany yesterday?
No, I didn't.
No.
Well, I worked outside all weekend. So other than I was watching, there's a really good channel on YouTube. It's free. Oh, it's Viva Free, and you spell free like FREI. He's a Canadian YouTuber, and he was in Ottawa a lot, and he's been doing some talk shows about what's going on with Parliament there. I've been kind of watching that a lot. So
Yeah, he was scared that it would get confiscated. Because of sanctions.
you know what? Honestly, though, I mean, they had the German guy was here last week. He won't say anything like he'd be very tough on Russia because they need Russian petroleum.
It's either OPEC or Russia.
Yeah, because we don't export now. Honestly, I saw on the news that 40% of our oil comes from Russia right now. So yeah, we're gonna have huge gas prices
And we
because
get
of
in a fight
this.
with Russia. Our only source will be OPEC. So I'm sure they'll keep the price the same. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Jim, hey, over on YouTube, there are some videos of these. They're Indian. They build perpetual. I'm gonna call them perpetual electric generators.
Yeah.
You want to watch that? It's
And what
really-
are they using? Like wind?
No, they have a small electric motor that runs through a flywheel, which is hooked to a generator. And after they get the motor run, the generator producing electricity, it generates enough generates enough electricity to run the little electric motor that is running the
It's perpetual
generator.
Yeah.
But it's still offsetting enough money. I mean, I don't know why I keep saying money, electricity for it to, like they'll run a drill and a side grinder and stuff like that.
There's some people here that moved in my town, and I watch them some on YouTube or I listen to them. I don't participate, like commenting or anything, but they run everything off. They're off grid. They run everything on solar and stuff, and it is a a lot of extra work for them, I'll say. I mean, there's a lot of convenience to having electricity, but I mean, I guess, yeah, we could all go and have our own windmills and own, what the hell else, solar and stuff, and power your own houses. Do you think the power companies are going to really like that? I mean, wouldn't that pretty much put the power companies out of business
Well,
if we all
Duke,
just start generating our own power in order to power just our own house?
I wonder how they fix that in countries where they have. Oh yeah, that's right.
They
tax
tax the shit out of you.
Yeah,
They'll
you will be taxed on Windows. You'll be all your
solar,
solar stuff will
yeah.
be taxed. If you got a windmill, you're gonna pay a tax on that. There ain't no free lunch.
they're talking. Duke Power was wanting to have because there's a lot of people in this area that has gone that's got large lots and whatnot. They've got enough solar power um, that their power bills are
Well, what
basically.
was it? Is it because
And
Jim, he worked for this contract, they looked into it. Wasn't it for a while and they stopped that like up in Wisconsin? If you produce, you could actually like back charge into
They
the thing.
had to
They
by
had to
law. They
buy
had to
your
buy the power back.
electricity off
Yeah.
of you then,
Yeah,
but
if
they
you
stopped
generated
that.
an overage of electricity, the power company actually had to buy the power back from you, or it would actually reverse the meter. But they
there's
quit doing. They quit doing
And
that.
that was like
I like though the
15
special
years
tax if
ago.
you buy an electric car, at least in Wisconsin. I guess I didn't look into it in Kentucky, but in Wisconsin, I'm like, what is this electric car tax? I'm like, do they mean like a credit? Because don't they want you to drive electric? I'm like, no, it's a special tax. The reason they tax you on your electric car is because you're not paying the gasoline tax. So in
and you're still
Wisconsin,
doing the same amount
pay a
of
special
damage,
tax to have an electric car. So
and you're
where's
doing the same amount of damage to the road.
yeah,
Yeah, they're talking about that in North Carolina too. But Duke is wanting to charge, like for people that have power solar rigs big enough that they're sending power back into the system that they have. So they're like meter neutral, I think is what they call it. They want to have a $5 a month fee for being tied for the privilege of being tied into their system.
Well, that last year I was in Wisconsin with WPS. I mean, they had before you actually paid for any electricity, I was paying $55 in user fees, wind turbine. Remember that's green energy fees.
Right.
So much to help other people with heat assistance and electric assistance. I mean, before I even the bill, like my part of the bill, I think it was like 50 or 55 bucks.
because we had, and the reason for that was we had two meters. We had an electric meter and we had a gas meter, and both meters had their own sets of additional fees. And by the time you added it up, it was over $50 for the two meters without
Oh yeah,
turning
that's
the light
right.
on.
I had a separate gas meter. I forgot
Yeah,
that.
so they were hitting us all these crazy fees for both meters.
Hey, magnificent. There's a guy down in Chester County, which is a rural area, and he's got a large tract of land. It's got like a cow barn over here and a pack house over here on this side of the property, and all of them are metered separately. And he's all has solar panels hooked to all of them because they virtually don't use any power because unless he has to go out and check on the cows at night, there's never any lights on. And there are like security lights, but they're solar powered ones. So he's using his property as a utility company, basically. But it takes a while. It's not like you don't get a check; you just get a credit.
Yeah.
The way it works in South Carolina, they have to
Well,
credit
what I
you.
tell you that about Wisconsin, that was a long time ago because that was back when Jim was doing real estate. So that was like 13, 14 years ago. Y'all were talking about that, which that it isn't like that now. I know they changed that not long after that. That thing with like Kevin with the back charging.
I was
They don't
watching.
charge me nothing for a wood stove.
True. Yeah,
I
but
was
that doesn't make
watching.
a lot of sense.
I was watching a YouTube video, and you have to take it for a grain of salt. This guy's got like a 3,500 square foot house, and he lives, I guess, up in the neck of the woods. Y'all getting up towards the north because he has a lot of wind. So he's got a wind generator. He's got solar panels. He's even got his own little hydroelectric plant, and it all funnels back through his meter. And he alleged that he don't have a power bill, and he says he can't he can't get those kids to turn the damn lights off. You know, it's just because he has all these sources that to
I believe you can do it. I mean,
oh
like our power
absolutely.
was out for 2 days, and granted, it's a gasoline generator, like a medium-sized one. We powered our whole house with it. I mean, our fridge, we took showers, we had lights on, we watched TV. I mean, it was pretty much like living with power.
We've got some friends that's got a Tesla, and they really like it. But Joe was saying that if when he has to replace the batteries in that thing, it's gonna cost him a small fortune.
I heard like something like if some of those, it almost isn't even worth replacing the batteries because like didn't you say like on a Chevy Volt the batteries are good for like 7 or 8 years, but then they cost like
No 10.
or 10 years, but then they cost like 15 or 18 grand to
No, I
replace.
think it's like 12 to 15 or something for
Oh.
the batteries.
And then it's like, well, if you paid like 25 for the car when the car's 10 years old, who would want to invest 12 grand in batteries in it? You know?
Well, it just depends on whether there's a shortage. You know, it's like my wife's got a brand new Mazda sitting in the driveway because we couldn't find a used car that was less than her Mazda was, or not.
Yeah, but I mean,
the price of
my
it.
thing I'm saying is how green is that? So, because I can only think like, okay, this car's 10 years old. I don't know if I want to put 12 grand in. I might as well just get rid of this car and get something
And
different.
nobody's going to buy
But
it.
who's going to buy it
It's
and
gonna go
put
to
12
junk.
grand? So it's going to go to the junk and I guess get recycled or whatever.
If-
But how green is that? Or how green
Well,
is it to go dig holes in third world countries to dig up this lithium that there is not? It isn't an infinite amount of lithium available. We're going to run out of lithium. So
If you have an electric golf cart, you can't give it away if the batteries are done.
Yeah.
Those scissor lifts, because the batteries cost more than buying the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
for what the batteries cost, you might as well replace the unit.
yeah, my brother's got a golf cart that's got a 5 horsepower, a 5 horsepower gas engine that came off of a lawnmower or tractor or something, hooked to a little generator that runs his golf cart. He's still buying gas, but it didn't cost him anything for anything. They gave him the golf cart. He already had the lawn tractor that the motor came out of. So it was, hey, Mr. Sadie, I'm sorry you're maybe first for this hour.
I meant the Sadie.
But you know, it's like I said, Joe likes his Tesla. They can run to the beach and back on a charge.
oh, they're cute cars. I mean, those people that
Oh,
Jimmy's caretaker
they
for
got
in
the
Eagle
big
River had Teslas. I mean, they're cute looking and sporty.
Uh,
I just don't drive a car that much, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, we could buy a Tesla, but we would have nothing else.
Well,
all we would have is our Tesla.
You know,
can't you get some of them for
everything.
like 30 grand? Like the cost of
yeah,
a
they have
or
they
what?
have reasonable priced ones.
They do have a reasonable price one.
I mean, like
It's
50.
small.
They start
No, I thought there was like one that was like around 30.
Yeah, they have one that's
It's a little
Yeah,
small.
Nikki agrees with me. I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, then we could get two.
Well, I don't want Tesla though. I want a Dodge Challenger is what I want. V8. I just want to like pour the gas right through it.
my dad
You
has
better
an old
You better
city
get off
car.
of YouTube and start the listing, girl. There's a
Shit,
guy
Tom,
down the street.
I've been working all day, all weekend, and I was sick this weekend too. So
I'm sorry. There's a guy down the street that's got a gremlin that he's having
Right.
restored. Just because
my
he
mom
always
had one.
when he was a kid. It's got like it's got a huge engine in it. And
Oh,
that's the way it came from the
What's the Gremlin with the big engine? Is that
What
the
did your mom have, Sarah?
Gremlin X? What'd you say?
What did your mom have?
She had a Gremlin too, but it wasn't a Gremlin X. It's just a regular
I love
Gremlin.
when you say gremlin.
Gremlin. I spell it that way too. I put a B in it.
Nikki, I saw right grumbling down. She actually put a B in grumbling. I'm like, good God, woman.
I
Hey,
heard
you
for the
thought the
first time, I
Washington
just wanted you to
Redskins
say
played
Gremlin.
in Washington, so don't talk
I
smart.
also thought Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana were two different people.
Yeah, I do too. Me and Jim thought of Montana and Miley Cyrus were two different people. And
No,
Jim's dad, old ass dad, had to correct us. He's like, no, they're the same person. She's just playing a character. We're like, no
Damn,
way,
Jim.
that's two different
I'm
people.
like, no, they just toured together.
no.
Did you have him checked out?
What?
You should have Jim checked out if he
Jim?
thought that.
Yeah,
That's
he's
like
getting old.
Superman. You know, those glasses that Superman that Clark Kent wears. It's such a big change between Superman and Clark Kent.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, me and Jim both, well, it's not like we were watching her or something. We're like, oh yeah, Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus, whatever. Yeah, two different kid singers. I mean, it wasn't like we were going to her concert and being fooled by it. He did think though that the Washington Redskins played in the state of Washington on the West Coast. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, they play out. I'm like, no, it's Washington D.C. You nitwit.
Tara, Mr. Petey says you need to get you. Go ahead.
Oh
And get
yeah, yeah, I love it. Honestly, I just like the way they look because they got that real 1970s muscle car look. I mean, and I like GMC, but they almost have I like the look of them better than like the Camaro or so. And I'm not a
Listen.
huge Dodge person. I don't like Dodge trucks, but I would be tempted to buy one of those for fun.
All the sedans look alike. Doesn't matter whether it's a Hyundai or a Cadillac. They all look alike. There's nothing different about them. And you know, back when Chrysler Dodge came out with like the Prowler and the PT Cruiser and stuff like that, I always liked them because they were different.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about the PT Cruiser. I mean, I don't know about the Prowler. You know, that's that hot roddy looking thing.
Yeah, it had
I've
like
known
those
several
wheels
people
and
had
shorts.
PT Cruisers that used them for business, and they drove the hell out of those things for several 100,000 miles before they had to do any
PT
work on
Cruiser is like riding in a lumber wagon.
Never
them. Is it?
rode in one. They never really,
Um,
never did. I'm not much of a Dodge person, but for whatever reason, I do really like the look of that Dodge Challenger.
Because it doesn't look like anything else.
yeah. Well, Dodge is okay for cars, it's just not trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even haul eggs with the dadgum Dodge.
You know what? I miss chrome.
Chrome.
Yeah. All the modern cars, Chargers, Challengers,
The hell?
I was like,
Toyotas, Hondas, anything you look at, there's no chrome on them anymore. I loved all that chrome trim in the
Mm.
60s, 70s, 80s. God.
I was looking at a video that popped up in my playlist, and it was of a Rolls Royce Callanan or something like that. It's their SUV, Rolls SUV, about $550,000, and it had all the chrome blacked out.
Hmm.
That was the way it was. It was their Black Label edition or something like that. If I'm spending $550,000 for a car, when I'm a half a mile down the road, that son of a bitch better be shiny, reflecting light all over town so people can look
Yeah.
at it.
I mean, truckers know.
Yeah.
You go down the road and see the individual truckers. They've got chrome
Oh
stacks
God,
on
they're
their
crazy about this
exhaust. They got
one.
chrome bumpers. They got chrome lug nuts. They got chrome. They got chrome bling all over their trucks. But cars nowadays, it's red
Yeah.
or it's green
Yeah.
or it's brown or it's
Maybe it's
gold.
because it's a lot more plastic though in the car too. I mean, when you go to a car, that whole bumper and everything's pretty much plastic.
Yeah. Back
I
when I was
gotta go, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
all
Bye,
right.
Dixie.
Bye.
Bye, Nick. Thanks. Back when I was young and I bowled all the time, one of the guys I bowled with, he was a trucker, and he showed up because he was on bowler league, and then he was headed out on the road, and he drove his truck to work to the bowling alley, and I mean it was beautiful. It was candy apple red. It looked like you could stick your finger up to your first knuckle on your finger. in that paint job. It was gorgeous. It had all this chrome, and his wife drove her car because she was going home afterwards. And I said, I like your truck. And she said, well, let me tell you something. We only got 35,000 in the truck, but he's got $50,000 worth of extras on that thing.
What year was this that you could buy a truck for 35 grand?
Oh, this would have been like 84, 85.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't new when he bought it. But he had one of the cabs put on the back. It had a small sleeper on the back of it. He had a double put on it and all this kind of stuff. Had it painted. It was beautiful. It had so much chrome on it, it would blind you.
Make yourself as safe as possible.
Let's see. He bought her a Dodge Charger. Mr. said he bought his wife a Dodge Charger. Top Banana in 2006. It was 22 of 4,000 made.
Yeah. The Charger's cool too. The only thing I would say about the Chargers, they make a lot of them for cops. I just like the 2-door better. So that's why I like the Challenger better.
No,
They have a nice body style, but no chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chargers.
I like the body style of the
I guess
Charger.
my thing about those, I like that. I like it to have the 2 doors. I don't want to look like I can put a bag of groceries in the back or like have a kid in back or something. You know, I want to be like totally irresponsible.
Handcuff a perp and put him in the back. Yeah.
I had a Chrysler 3000, and back when that car was new, because it was a 2000 model, I had about 190,000 miles on it when it quit. When that car was first made, that was supposed to have been a hot rod, because it would fly with 150,000 miles on it. When it quit working, it still would fly. I mean, it was fast. But they don't make 2-door cars anymore, do they? Other than the Mustang, the Camaro, and the
Challenger.
The Challenger.
Well, did Volkswagen? Do they still make a 2-door?
I'm not talking about the rice burners or the fur mobiles.
Cool.
I'm talking about American.
Oh, okay. Only American. I don't know. I haven't really looked at cars in so long.
Wait, does he mean Canadian?
Well, no,
American or
the Chevy,
Mexican
like the Chevy Volt's
Okay.
a 2-door.
Okay,
Are you talking about
U.S.
the
brands,
Mexico or Canada?
U.S. brands, Jim.
Oh,
U.S.
okay.
brands.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like a Harley Davidson motorcycle.
Oh my God.
Hencho in Mexico.
Well, just for
I'm sorry,
reference,
Mexico.
Honda Jets are made in North Carolina, by the way, if you ever decide to buy a jet.
that?
That's where it's at.
What is made there?
The Honda Jets.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah,
They're
they
made
make
in North
cars
Carolina.
here, like up towards by Springfield, and maybe is there something in Lebanon? They got a couple car factories here. They make Corvettes in Bowling Green.
In Toyota
Right.
Tundra, the reason they make Toyota trucks in the U.S. is because they were too expensive to ship over.
Yeah.
So it was a lot cheaper for them to just make them in the U.S. since in the United States people were using them for what I don't know.
I'm glad you threw that forward in there, Mr. Sadie. I'm just not too impressed with General Motors products anymore. Their transmissions are so bad. I've
never had transmission trouble on a GMC.
Have you not?
No, and I work my trucks. I mean, they were pulling horse trailers and stuff and loads of hay and that.
We had a
I have.
Oh wait, yeah, that's right.
That had a transmission problem.
Transmission went out.
I knew a lot. I'll say the Dodge has a good engine. The Cummins engine's great, but I knew too many people that were like again pulling horse trailers and stuff that would lose a transmission on them.
It was the GMC? Is that the one the transmission went out because Jim was towing an RV with it or something?
No,
it was a front differential.
Front differential.
Yeah, no, the transmission was fine.
The transmission's fine. I still have that truck. It's still a good truck. It's got Wisconsin rust on it.
It's got 180,000 miles on it. First transmission.
It's the last car I had a car note on.
I spent $4,000 having a transmission put in my Saturn because other than the transmission, knock on wood, it's a great vehicle. But that class, it's an Outlook, which is not it's the in between a Tahoe and a whatever their little small car is, a small SUV is. That whole brand line across the General Motors line, whether it was GM, GMC, Chevrolet, Saturn, they all had transmission
Not
problems.
many Saturn type vehicles.
And so anyway,
Maybe
I cannot replace my Saturn for
But that's a
$4,000.
little front wheel drive
So
car.
I had a
GMC
transmission put in it.
does not make front wheel drive cars.
Oh,
GMC makes trucks and SUVs. And
I
Tom,
read an
when you buy a
article
car-
like
Oh, go
a
ahead.
day or two ago that because of the chip shortage, Ford is no longer going to offer heated seats.
oh.
I'm like, oh well,
Don't.
big,
See, I have no
I'm like,
problem
oh well,
with Ford.
big deal. But if Ford is not offering any heated seats, that's a harbinger, right? It's
I don't
getting
know.
bad.
I honestly tell you the truth, until we got this Lincoln, I don't think I had a car with heated seats. I had
No,
air
I'm just
conditioned seats
saying.
too.
Miss Tara down on the plantation has got her a Lincoln.
Oh yeah! Oh, look at Tara's really rolling in it with her 2006 Lincoln Aviator. Woo! Oh,
Yeah, they didn't make
2005.
them in
Yeah,
6, they quit.
My Saturn's
Tara's
only
older than my kid.
I got a question for Tom. Tom,
Right.
when you buy a car where everybody goes around and claps in a circle or whatever when you buy the car, wouldn't that have been your first clue that maybe
Who
something was
claps
effed
when you
up?
buy?
Those goofy Saturn dealerships, they do this weird ceremony when you buy
What?
the car.
I didn't
I
know
didn't.
that.
I didn't.
What?
Wall.
I bought it from a
Didn't even
Chrysler
mention that?
dealership.
Wait, what's Tom's rebuttal?
He bought it from a Chrysler dealership. He must have
Oh,
bought it
okay.
used.
Yeah, because when you
Well,
buy it
it's a
from
great.
Saturn,
It's a great
they
car.
all sing Kumbaya and hug you. And
What?
yeah, it's a weird
What?
ritual.
Yeah, they had some. They had some kind of crazy. It's like a Walmart special. I mean,
It's
I like
weird.
this. I like the Saturn, but
I
I
don't
mean, I
think
like
I'd
the
like
Saturn.
that at
but
all.
Saturn's a weird car
transmission
for
was a
weird
bitch.
people.
I don't trust anything that's named after a planet.
It's like an Aztec. It's like buying a Pontiac Aztec. Obviously,
Oh,
there's
that thing was hideous.
Subaru.
Here's your anus.
Oh, look at me! I'm in my Outback.
Here's your anus. Come on.
You know what? My uncle had a
Here's your
neighbor down
Pluto.
in
Go
Myrtle
driving
Beach.
off the edge of the earth.
He had. I bet he had a dozen of those Volkswagen things.
Oh God! Oh, those are nice.
The Volkswagen
The
thing.
cool wagon. Yeah, I like that.
He every time he found one, he bought it, and he had a warehouse that probably. I bet that warehouse was 50,000 square feet, and only thing that was in that warehouse was all these things, because
I
he
like
would
the
take parts
thing.
of them to keep his. Now he had one that he drove, being that so close to Myrtle Beach, or his daughter drove, and that thing looked like it just came off the showroom floor, better than the showroom floor. But those were the ugliest things, but he loved it.
Do you remember the Willys Jeepster?
Yeah.
Oh, those were awesome too.
My favorite Jeep is a CJ5, though. I got into a lot of trouble.
I'm a
with that.
7 man, but the 5's nice too.
Well,
I like that extra
I'm
foot
older-
for the cargo.
I'm 10 years older than you, Jim. You know,
Well, they were making 5s and 7s at the same time.
huh?
They were making 5s and 7s at the same time.
I beg to differ. They had the 5s, and then they came out with. I had a 5 when I started high school. The 7s came out when I
Well, the
graduated.
7s came later, but the difference is in the door.
Yeah.
Your 5's got an S-shaped door, and your 7s have a rectangular door. But you could buy. I mean, there was a while there where they made them both. You could buy a 7 or a 5.
Yeah. But I got into a lot of trouble with that CJ5.
Yeah, Jim
You
flipped
know,
his
it's-
over.
I other than the Saturn, I mean the transmissions and GMs, and the fact that there was like 5 years that they couldn't keep paint on the hood of their trucks.
Yeah, but that was back in the
You
80s.
got to take care of any of it. It doesn't matter what kind of car it is. If you don't take care of it, service it like it is, it's not.
Whoa. Wait a minute. What year was this car?
The Saturn.
What?
Yeah.
It's a 2008.
The Saturn was an 08?
And my 2008, my Saturn is a 2008. Yeah, that's the one just had the transmission put in it. That's the second transmission. We didn't put the first one in it, but that's the second transmission. I love it. I mean, I've got a $35,000 vehicle for $4,000. I mean,
How many miles does it have on it?
oh well, it's probably got 140,000 on it.
Oh,
The first transmission was put in it at 45,000 miles because I've got the
Did you
receipt.
check the transmission fluid at all?
I didn't own it then.
Oh. Well, what about when you put the second?
That line of GM transmissions. That line of GM transmissions were the worst. I mean, they all had problems. Chevrolets, you know, there was a certain transmission that they had problems on.
Is this something like you're at the stoplight, you drink a Coke, you see stars, and then you rev the thing up to about 4,500 RPM and then drop it in a drive? Are you doing like neutral drop the stoplights?
No, I'm talking about put it in D and back, or driving off from your house.
Well, don't put it in D if you're backing up. That might be the first thing.
You better lay off that special Coca Cola.
Shut up, Jim. But no, like I said, if you don't take care of any of them,
He's driving a Saturn, drinking his space Coke.
He shut off the ignition and turned the key back on to make key pops and neutral drop. This thing drives like crap. The tranny's gone again.
Let's go back to Todd was talking about the heated car seats. Have you heard the deal where they're talking about like Toyota, BMW? I think it was GMC. They were going to change after so many years. Your heated seats, your remote heated seats, and other remote features of your car was going to become a subscription service.
What?
Yeah.
You guys subscribe to get your butt warm now?
Because right now it's free, but they can change it to a subscription service.
Well, the wiring was already in the seat to make it heated. Why would
the chip will make it stop.
Oh, is that like if your social credits aren't high enough or something?
I don't know, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If I paid for a car with heated seat with remote heated seats, unless it was in the damn contract on that thing, and I wouldn't have signed that contract, I ain't paying for no damn automatic remote.
Tom, let's say you're a good citizen the day you buy the car, but then you drive the car for a year and then you give money to Canadian truck drivers. How are they going to keep you from doing stuff like that?
Okay,
once your social credits go down, then your heat goes off.
Other than the whole trucking thing, the concept of the trucking and that the Canadian Prime Minister's lost his mind, I don't know any details about that, so I'm gonna have to stay away from that.
Oh boy.
We're not talking about Canadian truckers. We're just talking about heated seats. Calm down. It's all good.
I will say heated seats are a luxury. The air-conditioned seats are real. I've never ridden in a car with air-conditioned seats. I'm kind of a hick. I mean, I put those on one day. I was like, wow, this is nice.
Yeah,
Tara,
blowing smoke
does your Navigator have the heated steering wheel?
No, and it's an Aviator.
Okay,
well, we had a Expedition and an Aviator.
Yeah, the Expedition is dead. The Expedition's done.
I'll be honest with you. If you ever have a steering wheel, it's cold and you have a heated steering wheel, you'll wonder how you live without it.
Well, I will say for snowmobiles, when heated hand grips came out, I was like, oh wow, this is a luxury.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what you buy now. You're going to spend $50,000 to get it off the drive out of the lot.
How cold is this car in the Carolinas that you're worried about a heated steering wheel? I mean, did you move to Carolinas from Alaska?
That's That's right.
You know, I have a certain way of doing things, and I like the
I can see it
environment
with
around
like
me
a
in a certain
butter
way.
soft
I'm
driving doors
sorry that
on it,
nothing.
his heated steering wheel.
Why don't you hire somebody with a little like those bed warmers? They could put a little steering wheel warmer, under the thing while you're driving.
You love jacking me around, don't you, Jim?
I just wondered because I've never here in Kentucky. We're up north, north of you. It did not get cold enough where I needed somebody to heat my steering wheel.
It's not that you need it. It's not that you
Want
need
to.
it. It's because if it's there and you can push a little button and your steering wheel warms up or your butt warms up, why
I
not?
have used the heated seats
Yeah.
quite a bit.
You know what's interesting about the middle of Kentucky? People cry and bitch and moan when it's raining.
That's swearing.
It was February 15th. It was 65 degrees and raining. And people are complaining, "Oh, I can't handle this winter anymore. Oh, this rain, it's so cold." And I'm like, 65 and rain. If I was in Wisconsin and it was 65 and rain in the middle of February, god dang. Sometimes people don't know how good they got it.
So I was driving the Highlander to Waco today, and for some reason my ass started feeling hot.
Uh-oh. The old
And
heated seats.
yeah, the seat heater was on, and I was like, "It's 70 degrees outside. Why not?" And the sun was streaming in the windshield. Why am I so hot?
Man, I had that happen one time. I went on a
So,
bus trip to the Ozarks, and I thought my felt hot, and we made a stop somewhere, and when we came back out, the bus was on fire.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's true,
Yes,
true story.
yes, Todd. I like my creature comforts.
Yes, you do. I mean, it's
I
like,
am just too old. I'm too old for roll up windows.
You can start the car up 10 minutes before you drive it, warm it up on the inside if it's that
God.
cold.
Hey,
My
Glenn.
dad, my dad drove like a '79 Chevy pickup with a 3-speed 6-cylinder engine for like 350,000 miles, and he had duct tape on the seats and a
Was he from
bench
South
seat.
Carolina?
He would roll over in his grave at you, Tom, right now.
Yeah. Well, remember we used to like when I was a kid, my mom had a 1973 Pontiac Grand Prix with the vinyl seats, no air conditioning. So southern Wisconsin. But if it was hot in the summer and you got in there with shorts, I mean, you broiled your legs off sitting on those dang seats and stuff.
Oh yeah,
You
that
We
said
duct
Grand
got
tape would
Prix.
stick to your pants.
Oh
You said
yeah, if
Grand
you had
Prix,
shorts on, you'd be like, ah, my legs
I
are burning.
know.
Tara. You
What?
said a Grand Prix.
Yeah, my mom had like a 73 Grand Prix.
One of those big ones is the size of a house now.
Oh yeah, but we always
You
only drove Pontiacs. My
you,
whole family always had Pontiacs. I think my mom, okay, she had the 73 Grand Prix, but then in 1982 she bought it brand new, an AMC Eagle, okay? And at that time the AMC Eagle was kind of cool. It was four-door. It had like some kind of
no,
all-wheel
it was
drive.
not cool.
Shut up. It had some kind of all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and she brought it home. And I remember everybody at the family was like, "Why didn't you buy a Pontiac? Why'd you buy that AMC?" And 2 years later, this is another incident with fire, horns blowing in the yard. Everybody's running around watching TV. So I'm like, "What's going on? Is something on fire?" The car's horn started blowing in the yard, and it was in blaze. It was blazed fire. They had the fire department come and put it
Tara
out.
set that car on fire.
No, I was just watching like Looney Tunes or something. Well, I don't even know. I might have been watching like Fragile Rock or something. It was like at night, so I was probably watching HBO. Everybody's
Um,
running around like a bunch of crazy people. I'm like, well, what's going on here? Something on fire? Shoot, the car's on fire.
AMC was ahead of its time.
Yeah, for being crap.
No, there's a lot of them that was good.
Well, my mom we did have an AMC Gremlin, which it was a wreck, but I mean, it was fun. I mean, wait, no, it broke down all the time. That was the car my mom would be driving around in, and Norbert would make me go downtown with him to go rescue her. Yeah, that was that Gremlin. It was always stalling, wouldn't start, whatever.
I had an AMC. Well, I still have it. An AMC Jeep. I think it's a 1981 AMC Jeep, but it's got a Pontiac engine, and it's got a GM transmission and GM engine, and it ran great. But I also had a brown. My brown Jeep had a Dodge engine in it because it was after they went to Chrysler, and that thing never ran right.
I had an AMC Matador.
Oh yeah,
was-
that's nice.
It was a solid steel car with like a 4-cylinder engine. It was the slowest thing in the road ever.
Did it have the
But-
heat under the dashboard? It said air conditioning. It had like this special thing you had underneath the dashboard for the heating and cooling.
Yeah, something like that. It was.
A buddy of mine in high school had one. I'm like, what in the hell is that big contraption under your dashboard? He goes, well, that's the heat and stuff. I'm like, it looks like it was afterwards. We're like, oh my god, you know what we forgot to put in this car? Yeah, heat and cooling. So these
It was
Matadors would have this thing underneath the dash that would have the vents and stuff on it. It was really funny looking.
It was a horrible car, but hey, it was my college car, and Dad paid like $1,200 for it. Nearly. It only had like 30,000 miles on it, but it was like.
See, you started off right. Dad paid for it. That made it made it a Rolls Royce when Dad paid for it.
Yeah. But it was like a $1,200, and it was like a chunk of steel going down the road with 4 wheels and a 3-cylinder engine. It was like horrible.
My buddy had one. He loved that thing. I mean, he never had any problems with starting it or anything like that.
No, it
was
always
dependable.
started. It always ran, but it was. Let me put it this way: the AMC Matador was not a chick magnet.
No, it looked like you tried to make a sports car out of a Pacer.
No, it was
listen.
a sedan that looked like.
But if you look
Something
close at the Pacer body style compared to the Matador body style, they're actually kind of. Because I'm like, when the Pacer came out, I'm like, hey, that kind of looks like my buddy's Matador.
I think the Pacer had the front bumper and some of the light fixtures of a Matador. Because I was looking at a YouTube a video about the Pacers. A buddy of mine had one in high school. He had a Pacer. He said it was blue and had white interior, and it was the souped up version. He said it would run like all crazy.
Oh my god!
Because it's the one that they have like a 460. They put a 460 in this damn light ass little car. He said his kids give him hell about it. He says, but you know what? I wish I had that old Pacer. He said, first of all, it'd be worth about $35,000. But he said it was heavy. It was a good car. He never had any problems with it. It was just ugly as hell. But now it would fit right in with all these ugly ass cars that they're making. But going back to what Tara was talking about, she liked that Dodge Coupe.
Challenger.
The Challenger, yeah. It's because it doesn't. I mean, it looks like a muscle car because nobody else makes anything like it. I mean, the Mustang. Look,
Tom, let me screen share.
Oh, those Mustangs sound terrible.
Yeah, Jim don't like the new Mustang. Well, maybe it's something people do with them here. They maybe put like glass packs. They all sound like
They
crap.
sound like the engine's gonna blow up.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
sounds like somebody.
They're way too high a RPM and not doing
and
nothing.
somebody stole their Cadillac converter or something.
Hi, White Two-Pack. How are you? What are you doing, Todd? You said share it.
I'm trying here. I'm trying. Where'd it go?
I don't want that naked lady to run across your screen like it did a while ago. And she said, hey, you've got mail.
Yeah.
But like
here
I said,
it is.
if you don't take care of any of them, you're just screwed.
This is my fantastic college car, and boy, was that a chick magnet.
Is that actually your car? Or is that one like it?
That's one like it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like Oh my God! It was just solid steel from the front to the back, and it had like a 6-cylinder motor, and this was a horrible car.
It is
It was,
long.
oh yeah,
Listen,
it was a big ass sedan, but it was like
I took my
the
driver's test in a 1970 Kingswood station wagon. That's a Chevy, Jim. That sucker was big as an F-350 crew cab long bed pickup truck. It was huge.
Kingwood or something.
A person could lay across the back seat of it. A 6-foot person could lay across the back seat and stretch it out across the back of it. That thing rode like a tank.
When I took my driving test, the first time I took it in Milwaukee at the Mill Street location, and they were real hard to pass there, and I failed. And I was used to driving a 1990 Sunbird, so it was small. Then I went to northern Wisconsin. I'm up there with my uncle. He's like, "You gotta get a driver's license," because I used to drive with no license all the time.
Yeah, for like 2 years.
Yeah, well, no longer. I was 16 till I was about 20. So anyway,
With no driver's license.
I had my
Hey, in
test
South Carolina, if
sometimes.
you're driving a farm vehicle, you don't have to have a license.
Well, not cars though. Not
No,
cars.
she's driving to work. She's got a regular job. She's driving every day with no driver's license.
I had my
die.
temps. I had
would
my
die of
temps.
a heart attack. No,
I got pulled over by the cops.
Yeah, and she got away with it. I don't know how. I would not get away with that.
Anyway, so then the second time, my uncle's like, "Okay, well, I don't think you can take it with my truck." So he goes and borrows his friend. He had one of those big long. What's those like Lincoln Mark whatevers?
Mark IV.
Mark
Yeah,
7.
you know, with the long hood. And of
Yeah.
course, they want me to parallel park this boat. And I failed it because I couldn't parallel park
Did
it.
he have a like really wide brimmed hat and like platform shoes?
Well, they didn't like those big cars. And it was just, I mean, I just remember sitting in the driver's seat. The hood looked like it was 2 miles long. Flunk that test. And then if you fail your test 3 times, then it's mandatory. I think you got to do like some driver's ed or something.
Yeah.
And the third time I did pass it with a Chevy truck.
My dad had a 73 Lincoln Town, not Lincoln Town car, a Ford Thunderbird, and it had the 8-foot long nose on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it also had a 460 V8 up under the hood of it.
Yeah.
And that thing got better gas mileage at 80 than it did at 55. Because we'd get on I-26 leaving Charleston, headed back to Rock Hill. And back in those days, there was nothing on I-26.
What year was it?
It had been in the early 70s.
Yeah, if it was before like 73, that's pre-emissions. You got a lot better gas mileage.
That sucker would fly with that 460 under. Matter of fact, he sold that thing to a guy for about $3,500, and the book value on it was only like $1,200 because he wanted the motor out of it. But that sucker, which the guy put it in the back of a jet boat. I mean, well, it was like a jet boat, but only had a prop drive on it. Jim, that sucker would pull 8 skiers, 8 fat boys out of the water.
Oh,
that sucker would fly.
Did he have the exhaust in the water, or did he have the pipes up above?
He had them both ways because his wife she didn't like all the noise, so he would vent through underwater.
Oh, okay.
He was in the boat.
Because I rode in a boat with a guy when I was in high school. He had the big V8 engine in it, and he had the pipes up on top. And I want to tell you, when you got out of that thing, you couldn't hear for 3. You couldn't even talk to anybody for like 3 hours. You were completely deaf.
Was that the Donzi?
No, it was a buddy of Louis Larson's.
I'll tell you what.
Drunks.
When you said Donzi, there is a movie, and I can't remember which movie it is.
Quiet. It was too wild.
But there's some bad guys chasing some people in a Donzi, which is a boat, guys. For those that don't know, and all the letters are backwards. So, which meant that they filmed it one way, and when they actually use the film, they flip the film, and so all the lettering's backwards on it.
Oh my God! You want to hear a good Donzi story? Tell him your Donzi story, where you hit the speed. Did you ever hear oh my god, I can't remember his
No.
name. Jim Donzi's story.
No, I haven't heard any Jim talk about any real boats.
Well, anyway, we're in the Donzi. This buddy of mine, his dad had this Donzi boat, and it was like, I don't know, 26 foot long or whatever. It wasn't a great big one. But anyway, so we're running down this real straight lake. You know, it was a straight, long lake.
Chain of Lakes where we used to live.
So he goes to me 55 miles. He yells it. He goes 55 miles an hour over the motor, and he gives me the thumbs up. The next thing that happens is my glasses are hanging off one ear. I'm in the water.
He had a life jacket on.
And I was unconscious. I woke up in the water. We hit a tow rope, or the rope that held the ski jump for a ski show that used to be there.
Yeah.
And when they took the ski show away, they cut off the rope. But we were down far enough in the water because of the speed. It had like pushed the rear end of the boat far enough down where we caught that rope that anchored the ski jump, and we went from 55 to 0 in about, I don't know, maybe 10 feet. So my buddy, he's still in the boat groaning. He hit the steering wheel. He didn't get ejected. But you talk about those real long hoods. I just rolled off that hood. I mean, it was, and I was knocked out, and I woke up in the water. Luckily, my glasses were on my face. So, and then we had to get a tow back because we ripped the lower unit out of the back of the boat.
Wow.
We were running the bilge.
Is that an IO or?
IO, yeah.
Yeah.
So the IO was pulled out, whatever you call it, the bellows or whatever,
Yeah.
and that was leaking. So we were able to limp it back, and then, I don't know, thousands of dollars later, his dad got it fixed. But we didn't get in trouble because it wasn't our fault. The rope was in the water.
Did he sue the ski?
He tried to sue him, and it didn't
Oh.
work out. But he lost. But anyway,
Um,
that's my
Wait.
Dante story. But I know it will go 55 miles an hour.
Glenn, was that in rural Louisiana? Don't you live in Louisiana? He said my dad was driving lumber delivery trucks at 12.
Yeah, I know. Like my mom and like her brother, they would. You could, if you were a kid that was doing farm work, you could drive like pickup trucks and stuff. You know, if you're doing that kind of stuff. But I was not doing farm work when I was driving with no license.
You were working at what, Ponderosa or no,
Honda wrote.
Country
No,
Kitchen?
I did work at Country Kitchen for a little while.
It's scary that you remember that being a restaurant, a steakhouse, Jim.
I think Ponderosa's still around.
Are they?
My ex-wife used to work at Ponderosa.
Yeah, they call them Pondo Puffs.
You know, kids with teenagers with powerful boats, which you can't do that now because our lake is so congested on the weekends. My buddy had, when I was in high school, his daddy had a 21-foot something or other, and it had twin engines. God only knows why he had twin screws on a boat on Lake Wiley. And that thing would run like there was no tomorrow. And he'd have about 4 of us behind that boat. And of course, we were all little skinny ass teenagers. And he would take us up the river to a fish camp that was right on the water. He'd buy us dinner. He would take us up the main channel, which was rough as a cob, at about 60 miles an hour. And he would just sit up there laughing and drinking his beer and just having a good old time. And we're just hanging on for dear life back there.
Yeah.
I mean, good time.
I don't like, honestly, to tell you the truth, and I'm not that much of a wimp, but I don't like going super fast on water. I don't know why.
Faster the better. Hey, Jam, you're talking about hitting that rope. It's not been too, I guess it was about, let's see, Roberta and I got married in 94. So it must have been like in the very late 80s, maybe the first of like 91, 92. We were down at my dad's place on the lake, and he lived kind of in the backwaters. So you had a channel you had to go in and out of to his lot. But there was a point that was a sandbar and then after probably about 100 feet, it actually got above the water, and then there was, weeds and stuff growing on it. This old boy came down the lake one day. He's in a big sea ray. And for those that don't know anything about boats, sea rays are very expensive. He came down the channel, leading down to my dad's house, wide ass open. Standing there drinking something in a glass.
Oh
because he
boy.
was standing up behind the wheel. You could see he had a glass in his hand. He hit that sandbar wide open.
No boy.
He left the boat and landed about 40 feet away from the boat, in front of the boat. His wife slammed up so hard against the dashboard that she broke her arm in 3 places.
Oh.
But we kept saying, he's not going to slow down. He's not going to slow down. And damn if he did not slow down. And so after we called an ambulance, and they came down to my dad's place and took his wife, and he said he was okay. The EMTs checked him out, and they said he was okay. So we helped him get that boat back off of that sandbar, because he was about 20 feet up on the sandbar. He had just slid that sucker right up onto it.
No.
And it just got to the point that we just had enough. And there was a girl that lived beside us, or beside my dad, and she had an old piece of a boat, and she hooked that thing to the bow line of that boat, and she'd been drinking a few beers too. She hooked a rope to the front of his boat and to the back of hers, and she snatched that boat off that sand. If that rope had popped, it'd have probably killed us all. But I'm telling you, I'd never seen a boat go that far, other than in movies.
No. Well, I
But
suppose
he's lucky he didn't break his neck.
Well, you didn't know about it. You didn't know the.
That almost happened to me in Canada.
He didn't know anything about he didn't know anything about that part of the lake.
Yeah,
He was
that
from the
happened.
rich part of the lake.
When I was between 8th grade and freshman in high school, I went on a fishing trip up to Canada, and the guy driving the boat had it wide open fishing boat, but you went from like 60 feet of water to about 4 feet of water and it wasn't a sandbar, it was this huge boulder rock bar, and I remember my uncle's on the front boat. He goes, "Christ, it's a rock bar," and he slowed it down. He didn't wreck the boat or anything, but yeah, I was on the floor. The dogs are on the floor. I think Norbert hit the floor. Oh yeah.
Mr.
We
Sadie
lived
says
on a
30
river where the inside bend was all full of swamps because they created this 28 lake chain by flooding this river with a power dam. And we would sit as kids. I mean, from the time I was 6, 7 years old, we'd fish off our dock on the river. But when we'd watch these boats come through real fast, go around the bend, well, they want to cut the corner. They don't take the corner wide like you're supposed to, and their stumps weren't marked. And I mean, about in the summertime, there'd be 2 a day. They'd hit those stumps wide open. Out there swearing, their boat's jacked up or whatever. We're kids, we're laughing on the dock.
Yeah, yeah.
It was cheaper to take.
We were going slow, and then Jim, of course, yells at me. It's 4th of July. We're in this channel. We watch the fireworks. It's like midnight. We're making our way back to the boat landing. He's like, "Shine the flashlight. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do." I'm like, "You're going way too wide in this corner." Bam! Hits a stump. Breaks the shear pin on the IO. We're dead in the water.
Broke the drive shaft.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was just a shear pin.
No, that's why it took me a year to find one.
Anyway, so we're dead in the water, and then all night long he's yelling at me that I shine the flashlight wrong. That's
I only yelled at you from 11 o'clock at night till 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
We
rode the boat home. We went past the marina. I'm like, "Jim, it's a public landing here," and he doesn't like the guy that owns this marina. I'm like, "Just tie the boat up. We'll walk home on the road." Okay, we'll walk home on the road. Go get the trailer. We'll be out of here before anybody even knows it. He's like, "No, we're gonna paddle all the way, all night long." Brandon's throwing up in the boat because he ate too much candy. We have our pug with us.
She's throwing this 4th of July candy.
On Jim's leg.
I'm on the tip. It's an open bow boat. It's a rinker. I'm on the front of the boat with a canoe paddle. My son is throwing up on my leg because he ate too much parade candy from 4th of July, and I got my dog is urinating on my other leg. So I'm getting peed on one leg and thrown up on the other leg. And I just look up in the sky. I'm like, God, what did I do?
It was a beautiful night. I never spent the whole night.
What worked was I had swim fins in the boat. I got out of the boat and I swam in front of the boat with the rope,
with the swim fins. And I was able to pull a boat, and actually that made us move better
Yeah.
than the oar did.
Oh yeah, and he's like, one time there was a point because I know where it is on this, but we're going. The wind was so strong coming into Catfish Lake that we paddled for 45 minutes and we never moved because I could tell the lights on the shoreline were in the exact same spot for almost an hour.
And we got people. I mean, the human kindness. We got it's late at night. We got a little kid on board, and we got these boats zooming by.
Yeah.
You think one is of all the people I've helped out on that chain. I mean, I must have helped towed 50 boats in my lifetime. I'm like, well,
Not
maybe
one.
one will stop. These sons of bitches, they're yelling, "Loser!" You know.
Yeah, it was.
There's one. It's a guy and a girl. They shut off the lights on their pontoon boat, and they're like getting busy. I'm like thinking to myself, you gotta screw right now? You couldn't just give a brother a hand, throw me a rope or something, and then jam her later? I'm like, good lord.
No, the opportunity knocks.
Yeah, I'm like, she wants to do offshore drilling, so what am I gonna do? Interrupt them? So I'm like, well, I guess I gotta keep swimming. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, because we'd turn our lights would be off, but if we heard a boat coming, we'd flip our stern light on and our bow light so that you'd know we're in the water so you don't hit us. Anyway.
Mr. Kennedy, only 30, 35 is plenty fast on the water for you. What an old man. My mother drives.
35 on the water.
That feels like you're flying. 55, I mean, you feel like you're on a rocket sled.
Listen, we have this thing here in the Carolinas called a strip boat. It's a wooden boat. They're handmade.
You talking about a hydroplane?
4 feet wide, and they go from about 12 to 16 feet long.
Yeah, Jim sunk one of those. It's a hydroplane.
Those things. Now this is. It looks sort of like a. It looks like a John boat. The configuration of it. It's got wooden seats. It's nothing fancy. My uncle had one. Real quick side story. My uncle gave my uncle gave my aunt this boat for Christmas. So she went out and bought my uncle a set of waterless cookware for Christmas. But anyway, this boat had like a 60 horse Mercury on the back of it. You could not keep that sucker in the water. Have you seen like the racing boats, the little racing boats going?
Yeah.
You know how they come out of the water? My uncle would scare you to death of that thing.
Yeah. Well, those Mercuries were fast outboards. Yeah, they put a lot of those on hydroplanes too.
That's why Sunk was one with.
Was it a Mercury?
10 horsepower Mercury.
Tower of Terror, didn't they call it?
Well, this was a 10 horsepower, so it was not.
Yeah, but I remember we sold some
No, it's
of
called
those.
Tower of Power.
That's it. Oh yeah, Tower of Terror is in Disney. But we sold some. It'd be like a 3-cylinder.
My first boat had a 110 Mercury outboard on it, and it was the one that was stacked high. You know, now they have the V6s or the V4s or whatever. This one was a straight.
You might have been an 8-cylinder.
Huh?
How many cylinders was in it?
It was like, I don't know, 4 probably. But you know what I'm talking about? The one that was stacked straight up.
Tall. Those big ones were pretty tall.
Well, that
they were always straight.
That sucker would fly, and being that I had it on a lightweight boat helped too. But that old Mercury would just sit there and just purr right along, and man, you could fly in that thing. My boss had a cigarette. Let me see. Where'd that go?
Yeah.
My boss had a cigar boat with 2 Mercat 300 horsepower, and he did 100 no problem, but scared the shit out of me. Yeah. Yeah, there's some good old boys here on Lake Wiley that have, 21-foot bass boats with 500 or whatever they make, big ass Mercury outboards and Johnsons and not Johnsons, not Hondas. It's one of the Asian made outboard motors that's real popular.
Yamaha?
Them suckers will fly. I mean, it'll scare the daylights out of me, and I'm not sitting in the boat as they go by. It's just amazing what those things will go. I'm too old for that kind of stuff.
I want to get a deck boat.
Well, buy one. You got plenty of money.
No, I'm poor.
You just bought a backhoe.
You bought a backhoe?
Yeah.
What the hell are you going to do with a backhoe? Bury Jim in it?
Dig holes and stuff. It's not like a big. It's not like a big backhoe. It's one of those. It's a front end.
It's big enough.
No, but it ain't like one of those. That's the cleat tracks and stuff. It's a John Deere tractor with a backhoe on the back.
You sound like my brother. He's the one that's got the wife and the daughter that has all the horses. Well, every time one of them died, he had to hire somebody to come in and with a backhoe.
Bury it.
Yeah, we're gonna use it for that.
He went and bought a dadgum. He went and bought him a dadgum Kabuta, I think it is. Backhoe.
Yeah.
So he could bury horses with.
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
he
bigger
wanted-
than that.
I know it's a big old thing. Maybe it's
This
not
is like a John Deere, but it's your
It's a
construction John Deere.
construction. It's like you'd see it at a construction site.
It'd probably be like similar to like a Case Construction King, like
It's
a CK 580.
13,000 pounds. So it's a. She's saying it's small, but I mean I gotta watch out for power lines and stuff. When you got the backhoe folded up in the back, it's way up. It's pretty tall.
Yeah, sitting up is the worst thing on boats. Especially, you got them covered up. They just wear out. I like watching the YouTube videos where these guys buy these old piece of shit boats and fix them up. It doesn't take much to entertain me. I knew I did that when I was a kid, I was a teenager, but I still like watching it.
Tom, everything I've ever bought in my whole life was a piece of shit I had to fix up.
Well,
I've only bought one thing new in my whole life, and that was a little motor scooter.
You didn't buy it brand new. It was.
And it was actually that
6
was
months old.
the newest thing I ever bought.
Well, Tara, for his 65th birthday, I want you to go out and buy him a new Ford F-150.
I would.
Oh, Ford F-150.
Because he won't be hauling nothing. He won't be hauling anything more than his ass down to the McDonald's or Hardee's for the Liars Club meeting in the morning.
If the truck has less than 6 tires, I'm not interested.
Well, at some point or another, Jim, that's not going to make a lot of difference to you.
No.
You're going to sit back
and do what?
And want to go to town and have coffee with your mates and.
No, Jim doesn't. No, Jim doesn't hang out with people in town like that.
I don't like talk to people. I mean, unless they owe me money or something, I'm not going to go out seeking somebody out to talk to.
Jim doesn't even drink coffee.
And I don't borrow crap out either. That's what happens when you go drink coffee with people. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, could I borrow your whatever?
No, we never watched that channel, Musty One. Mr. Sadie said he thinks of you when he watches
Musty
it.
One.
There's another channel I think of Jim when I watch it, and it's this bloke down in Texas, and he has this thing for you remember when Nissan had the little truck and they made U-Haul had a bunch of them, had the U-Haul box on the back of it. Anyway, He's got a bunch of those things, and he buys them for nothing, and he strips everything off. He says, "Oh, it doesn't have to have smog control on it because it's such and such a model." And he rips all that crap off of it. There's one truck that he couldn't get the crank. He thought it was the alternator was, but not the alternator. The distributor. The distributor was bad on it, so he went and took it out of another truck, which was like a GMC or some shit like that, and put it in there. He's always just making things work, and it's funny as hell. Listen to his commentary, but it's also amazing that he gets these things to run like he does, piecemealing it like he does. And I don't remember what his name is. Just look for some old fart and.
There's a guy. Well, Jim hasn't watched it for a while. Did chainsaw. What was that? Buck and Billy.
Buck and Billy.
Buck and Billy. He talks about he's real into McCulloch chainsaws, which Jim happened to have some McCullochs, and he talks about cutting down trees and all this stuff. I actually really like that channel a lot too.
It's Buck and Billy. Yeah, you can find out. It's on YouTube. I mean, but it's really interesting. I mean, watching him, how he plans how the tree's gonna fall and stuff.
He's real into restoring axes and stuff. Wasn't he he's restoring them and selling them?
He sells axes.
Yeah.
He ships them. But it's funny. He goes to the place where they ship them out. He's got them wrapped up in duct tape and stuff. And he goes to the lady. He goes, okay. He goes, there's paperwork. And she's like, "You're gonna make me fill out all the paperwork, aren't you, for the shipping?" Yeah. You don't do no paperwork. He just cuts down trees.
You know,
Not an arborist.
my next
Yeah,
door
not
neighbor,
arborist,
before
he's a
he
tree
moved, he had a small engine repair shop. And it got to the point that it was cheaper. He would tell people, it'll be cheaper for you to go down here to Walmart and get you another, or Lowe's or wherever, and get you another chainsaw or a weed eater or lawnmower than for me to get the parts and put them in on this thing.
Uh,
He said parts had gotten just out of this world.
you
So
can
he
still find a lot of parts on like eBay and stuff. I mean, if you shop for them right. I mean, like a Husqvarna chainsaw. I mean, you could pretty much. How much would it cost you to rebuild a Husqvarna on average? Like, let's say a Rancher
50
chainsaw,
bucks.
$50. I mean, that would be like it has a blown engine or whatever.
You can buy the new cylinder, the new piston, the new whole thing, the whole kit to rebuild the engine for like $35, and then some other parts, air cleaner, and you get all the parts from China, and it's really cheap.
Huh.
But it's just, there's a couple guys that buys boats and fixes them up, and they sometimes they get good deals because the people that had them just didn't take care of them, and they
Yeah, you said this
tune up
musky
the engine
one
and
he bought a
whatnot.
backhoe to fix, but he does scooters, lawnmowers.
I'm
old
looking
mowers.
at it. Yeah, I'm watching them right now.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
told us about it, Mr. Sadie?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Mr.
That's
Sadie.
it.
Yeah, he's been
That's
watching a lot of fixing back because he's got fixing brakes on this backhoe we got.
Yeah.
We got a lot of hills here.
And it's real hilly. Hey, Tom, those stabilizer bars on the back of a backhoe, where you push those down so you can use the hoe?
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I use for brakes. I mean,
Okay.
you want to get? I got good with hydraulics real fast because if I'm like rolling backwards down towards the creek or something like that, I gotta drop a stabilizer to stop the bucket and a stabilizer because I got absolutely no brakes.
Hey Tara, do you have good life insurance on him?
Yeah, the creek is only like, I don't know, a foot deep. He'll live.
Yeah, Colonial Penn, $600.
Oh my god! One time, I think this is before. Well, maybe we were married. He's got my Ford 8N over at his house. He's moving something heavy, and he had like this divot in his backyard. So he's trying to drive along his garage. It's a little bit of a side hill, and you could tell that because he has this heavy wood boiler in the loader, so it's a little bit tippy. And the one it looked like it's gonna tip a little bit. He's all spooky looking. I'm like, is he gonna try jumping off that tractor? I'm like, don't you jump off that tractor. I'm like, drop the loader. Anyway, so I was teasing him about
She
that.
read my mind because that's exactly
Listen.
what
No, it's like
I'm
when
like, this thing's going over. I gotta jump.
it's like when people ride horses, like, and they get scared or whatever, and they start thinking, I'll just jump off. I'm like, you're not gonna jump off that horse, are you? No. Anyway, that's a good way to get hurt.
I was fixing to.
Bumcrack said it's Puddin's Fab Shop is the
Puddin's
channel I
Fab
was just
Shop.
talking about, the U-Haul trucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Not the man living in Texas didn't tell me about it. Not the man that's all about fixing and got horses and trucks and shit like that. We have to go to a guy across the damn Atlantic to tell me what the name of it is. But yeah, that is it's really cool the way he does that stuff.
Oh my god, it's
Crappy.
going down the hall for Ragnall. 1100.
Oh, really?
Yamaha was the outboard motor I was thinking of.
Yeah, I
Trying to
said
remember.
that before, but you didn't acknowledge it.
Oh, I didn't hear that. But yeah, Yamahas are real popular around here.
Yamaha
Does
makes a good
Johnson
outboard.
Evinrude even make boat motors anymore?
Who?
Johnson Evinrude.
They got
they
bought out by
Skidoo.
Skidoo. Can-Am bought them.
Oh,
So
okay.
are they like a BRP now? Is that Bombardier Recreational Products?
Yeah.
I think it's
BRP.
BRA or
Or BRP.
BRBP. Yeah, it's Skidoo Snowmobiles owns them.
Okay. I used to have a 1825 Johnson Evinrude boat motor.
What the hell is an 1825?
Not 1825 the year. Like the lower unit was an 18.
Well, I think
the
they were
motor
still
was a
using oars in
25.
1825. I didn't think. Was it like an 18 to 25 horsepower?
The lower unit was from an 18. The
Oh.
motor was from a 25. And one part was the top was was a Johnson motor, but I had an Evinrude cowling on it, and the lower unit was a Evinrude.
Yeah, well, they're the same.
It worked.
The Seahorse, we had a 40-horse Seahorse. I mean, when I was a kid, that was a good engine. I mean, actually, I like
I
Johnson
forgot there's a
engines.
third one too, because it's Evinrude Johnson, and then in Canada they marketed it under another name. There was
Yeah,
a
I
third
forgot
name.
what that's called. It's been a while since I really.
Jim,
It ain't a
I've said
Gale, is it?
before,
Might be.
I like watching the narrowboats over in England, and they run real slow. Like I think if you're going 15 miles an hour,
Oh yeah.
you're going too fast. Okay, it just gives me a
There's a
relaxing.
zombie movie on Netflix or a series on
Yes.
Netflix that's about zombies, and they're on one of those boats, and it goes really slow, and the zombies are like running along the shore, keeping up with it, because the thing only
Well,
goes like 2 miles an hour.
There's also they have some of the channels from YouTube. They've remixed and made episodes on Netflix for narrowboats. Anyway, I was watching this one guy that I follow, and he was talking to this old guy that has a really beautiful place on one of the canals, and he's talking about he says, you know what gets me is these kids get their daddy's narrowboats, and they come flying up by here. And he says, I have to yell at them, slow that damn thing down. And he says, and the host of the show, he's like, how fast do you think they were going? He said, oh, they were going about 20, and it's only 15 is the max that you can do on this thing. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, crank,
Yeah.
get a little boat and crank your ass up. But that water's real shallow too, so that makes a difference. But
I'm in this houseboat capital of the world, and they sell these things used down here for like $500,000.
what, houseboats?
Yeah, they're nice.
They're
man.
nice.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I see them used. They'll be like, $450,000, $500,000.
yeah, they got hot tubs on the upper deck.
Are
They got,
they the ones that's
fluid
like 16 feet wide and 50
Oh yeah,
feet?
they're huge.
yeah, they're ginormous.
They don't
Okay.
really. Well, they can leave the dock, but
But
I
they
think
usually
most of
don't.
them just tie to dock and they live on the lake.
And then they'll have like their boat. They'll have like a regular like an IO like a bayliner or something like that. A 20-some foot bayliner
And some jet skis.
tied to the back of the boat and some jet skis tied on too. And then they'll use their jet skis in the bayliner on the lake. But the houseboat never leaves the dock. They're like permanently. It's like a riverboat gambling boat or something like that. They're like
Okay.
McMansions on the water.
There's some nice ones like on Lake Marion, which is our biggest lake down in South Carolina. It's there are some huge houseboats on it, but it's and if Mr. Stady, if you keep your boat, because he said he's thinking about selling it, and you ever make it down to Lake Marion fishing, watch out for the stumps.
Yeah.
Because that lake, they were building that lake when World War II hit. And so they just lashed the logs that was already cut that they couldn't get hauled out. They just lashed them to the bottom with steel cable and flooded the lake. So every once in a while you're out there fishing and it's nice and quiet. And all of a sudden, one of them will break loose from the bottom and come racing to the surface and scare the crap out of you. But that lake is littered with boats on the bottom where the people have come running up through there, run into those stumps.
It's a good way to get rid of it. It's a good way to get rid of a boat. Like you got an old junk boat hull,
That is not a good.
and then you take it on the lake, motor, just tow it out, and then you have a shotgun, shoot a couple holes in it, get in the other boat, and leave.
Yeah, and then somebody finds it with their Garmin, those new Garmin sonar things or whatever, and they call it in and they get the whole number.
As long as it's not registered in your name, you got nothing to worry
Do
about.
not listen to Tara.
It got back when I was a Ute, and I would buy boats because the boats weren't worth anything, but the trailers were worth a lot of money. And I would take the boat trailers and scrub them down with a wire brush, paint them with a brush, and sometimes I put new tires on them, and I could made some good spending money. And but the disposal fee for getting rid of the boats, taking them to the dump, got so high, just
You
ate
know?
into that profit margin.
I know,
So
like
I
I
have
have
a
a
friend.
so
Tom, how much do you know about how much that is now?
What, the dumping fee for a boat?
Yeah.
It's like $150.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Well, it is. Now it is.
Well, it's more expensive than
But-
burning them, but I
but
gotta
listen,
try to get rid of
yeah.
them to take them to the dump.
A friend of mine's daddy had about 400 acres, and he had this gully that he was trying to fill in. So I'd help him out by taking boats down there and dump them. And I'd strip everything off of them except the hull. And I'd take them down there, then he'd run his bulldozer over and crush it.
yeah, like those like if you find any of those vintage boat trailers like made by T&E or Period Correct for like a early boat, actually boat trailers do pretty good.
Yeah.
Still, because you'll have somebody that will have like, you know, a 1960s boat, but he wants a Period Correct boat trailer underneath it.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
You know, like they have like a 1960s boat, but they want the Period Correct
Right.
trailer underneath it when they go do like these boat shows and stuff. So like, 'cause I sold some of those T&E trailers. Actually, I did really good with them.
T&E.
T&E.
T.
Yeah. My dad,
T&E.
There is no
my dad's got one of those like 1938 wooden Glastrons. You know, the ones that's real pretty when they've been restored.
Yeah,
And he paid like $4,000 for a trailer to go up under that thing.
yeah.
I mean, it was an original trailer, and because he pulled it behind a 1940 Ford Executive, I think is what it was called. Anyway, that's what he'd take it to boat shows and stuff like that.
Oh, Chris Craft boats are beautiful. It's just we had a Wood Henry boat, and then we ended up selling it because it's like, you know, you just gotta make sure you take care of the wood, and you shouldn't leave wood boats in the water. You shouldn't really leave any boats in the water. You
Right.
shouldn't leave those wood boats in the water because they go to hell.
Yeah, Mike, you see that around here too. I guess it was about 4 years ago. I was out in the country, and there was a boat that had it was a nice tandem trailer sitting under a boat. And I went down, I stopped and said, "Do you want to sell your boat and trailer?" And he's like, "If you'll hook it up and haul it away right now, it's yours." And hell, I was driving a damn, what was that
F-150.
thing?
Saturn. You're
No,
driving.
I wasn't driving a Saturn. I was driving a Malibu. I was driving a Chevy Malibu.
It was the F-150.
Come on,
No.
be honest.
Let me tell you what.
You're among friends.
My dad and my brothers have F-150s, and they pull all kinds of shit with that thing. So I don't want to hear your crap about ragging about 150s.
These little babies.
At least the paint stays on the damn hoods. You know what I'm talking about, Jim, when I talk about the paint staying on the hood?
Yeah, but that was in the 80s, Tom.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It was in the 80s. It was like, you could tell it's...
It was the silver paint on Chevys because we had like 84 that was silver that did have it where the paint started peeling on. It was specific though, the silver paint, if I remember right.
I had
It
a
was.
1990 Caravan that had the same, but it was dark blue. I mean, you'd be driving down the road and you look in the rearview mirror and you're like, "What the hell is somebody like dropping garbage or something behind us?" You get to where you're going,
It's just
you look,
shitty
half
Dodge.
your car's paint is gone.
Why did you have a minivan?
When he was married to his first wife,
No,
they like to ride around in minivans
It was
together.
a guy that my mom knew passed away, and he willed her the van. Well, she's like, "What the hell am I gonna do with this van?" And she's like, "Do you need an extra car?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it out." Anyway, so she wound up giving me the thing. Honestly, I'm not a big minivan, but I took out the middle seat. I mean, I put stuff in the middle of that thing. It was very utilitarian. Those early Dodge Caravans, you know, when they're real simple and it was easy to take the seats out and stuff. Actually, I used it for a lot of stuff. I hauled cement in it. Cement dust.
Right.
Anyway, that's how I wound up. It was a gift. But anyway, the thing peeled like I call it the grape because it was purple and it peeled like a grape.
I'm going to drink something and lay down.
Okay, good night.
Okay, good night.
Did
Good
you?
night, Brandon.
Don't drink my good Scott.
What is he still doing up? He should be in bed.
Yeah, he should be in bed because he got to go to school tomorrow. But there was no school today, so he's
Oh,
on.
is it snow?
No,
President's
President's Day.
Holiday.
Yeah,
President's
Uh,
Day.
Yeah, I celebrated President's Day by bringing wood down the hill.
Good job.
What's your favorite president, Brandon?
Trump.
Trump. Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
think about it.
Gotta
Mr.
think
Sadie,
about it.
somebody left an old boat and trailer on your lot. Is that like next door to your house?
Well, they filled it full of brush for him, so when he lights a match to it, it'll burn easier.
My favorite president was Calvin Coolidge because he was the do-nothing president,
Oh.
and
I guess I never really thought about Calvin Coolidge.
That's
Yeah, I was born in the Johnson administration.
Yeah.
Let me find out who Calvin Coolidge is.
I was born when Ford was president.
Calvin was before my time.
Well, mine too, but I'm just saying, I'm a do-nothing person, so Calvin Coolidge, he's just like right there for me, bro.
Got a good name, Calvin Coolidge.
You
That's
know,
good advice for most
seriously.
presidents. If they just did nothing, everything would be better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm being serious here. Who the
Okay.
hell wants to be president of the United States? I mean, you got to be a real
Senile person?
senile sadist, whatever, you know, to want that job, because those people look like hell when they come out of office.
Not Trump. He
Some
looked
of them look
good.
like hell when they
Because
go.
he didn't care. He had more money than God. He didn't care. And Ronnie Reagan, and that's because he kept color on his hair, and he didn't care who knew it. The rest of them, they all look like they've been rode hard.
I will say that's true about Reagan. He didn't look any worse when he left than he did when he went.
That's because he put that hair dye on his hair. You know?
Yeah. He looked like he was out of a wax museum.
But you know, I don't know why people would spend hundreds of millions or $100 million to have that job. I mean, really, just to have your name in the list.
No, I suppose.
I would say people are talking about having Trump run again. Trump running again. I mean, if I was Trump, you're a billionaire. You're on the back end of your existence. Why in the hell would you waste it? I mean, I wouldn't do it. He did it once. That's just he got that off his bucket list. Why would you? I don't understand why he would again.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just take it easy and take whatever Melania or whatever on a cruiser. And
I mean, I wish he was president right now, but yeah, I mean, he could pretty much do whatever he wants.
Well, that's all Mike's fault that the reason he's not. But
Yeah.
that's a tale for another night. He must have dozed off because he didn't write something hateful in the chat.
Maybe he's
Who?
composing it.
He's composing me a story over here.
Yeah.
But and it's already started. Not so much with the president's part, but the congressman that's running in our state for re-election, they have already started hammering the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Do you have an open seat in North Carolina? Did somebody retire or something?
Yeah, one of our senators.
Who's running for that seat?
I don't know who the person is.
Oh,
I haven't really put that much into it because every time the phone rings, it's either wanting the Republican convention committee wanting a donation or somebody wanting to tell me that my damn warranty's about to expire on my car.
you don't have Lindsey Graham, do you? He's South Carolina.
He's South Carolina.
Do you have Tim Scott? Is he South Carolina too?
He's South Carolina too.
Oh.
We got all the midterm elections right now, all the justice of the peace positions.
Yeah,
and
we got
stuff
like
are-
sheriff, magistrates.
Yeah, that's
that
March
kind of
the
stuff.
1st or something.
Yeah. Or
It's like
Tuesday in March.
my congressman has a small district because we have Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte, the big
Does
city.
Charlotte go Republican or does it go Democrat?
It goes Democrat.
Yeah.
but there could be a change this year because of all the crap that's been going on.
Yeah.
And it's really affected everything in Charlotte.
Yeah. I
But
live in such a small town area. The Justice of the Peace candidate came and rang my doorbell about Tuesday last week. Said, "Hey, I'm running for Justice of the Peace," and she was really nice.
no,
You
Mr.
know what?
Safety, I am not the senator. But I tell you what, if somebody doesn't run against our congressman who does nothing, doesn't even show up half the time, I might have to spend my $35 and find me a couple of 12-year-old girls to run me a Facebook uh, social media campaign and run against them because
Well,
I'm gonna
look
tell
at
you
that guy.
Man, you were scaring me, Tom, with that. I gotta hire me. When I hear a dude say, "Yeah, I gotta hire me a couple 12-year-olds,"
well, 12 year. I'm serious. These people pay pay millions of dollars to having these people come in and run campaigns for them. If they just go out and get them a couple of 13-year-old girls and do a social media campaign, they would win for a college education.
Well, look at that guy
Wait a
after.
minute. Can you imagine the smear campaign the teenage girl would run? Oh yeah, you don't want to vote for this person. I'll dig up all the stuff of their past.
But there was a guy up in New Jersey. I think he ran for the state senate. He only spent $500 and he won that seat. And I think he was just mostly buying a bunch of donuts for people, wasn't he?
Yeah, he spent
Yeah.
most of the money to spend on donuts. No,
See,
they're donuts for staffers to call people to volunteer.
Oh,
their
that was
help.
it. But he didn't even like have like a big pack or anything.
But back to what Todd said about that justice of the peace, that says something. When somebody takes the time to come up to my door and say, "Hey, I'm going to run for this office, and if I get elected, if you have a problem, just don't be afraid to give me a call." And that's that. They give you a handshake. When the other one don't show up and don't do nothing and sits on their dead ass and expects for a vote, I kind of wonder. I mean, that would definitely that would have a strong impression on me if the person just got off their dead rope and went out and knocked on some doors.
I
first
flat
of
out
all,
asked her if she could forgive my next speeding ticket, and she said, "Well, that's on a case by case basis."
depends on how much money you donate.
She
But
was a very nice lady, and she actually worked for the present Justice of the Peace, who's been in office for like 180 years or something.
Mm.
So she's been in the office a lot. I'll probably vote for her, but yeah, she was a very nice lady.
I don't think we
I
have justice of the peace. Is a justice of the peace like a sheriff?
no.
No, they just do the
Oh,
local
good.
speeding tickets, traffic.
They can
Yeah,
marry you.
I don't think we have
yeah,
justice of the peace here either, do we?
No.
yeah.
No.
It's a precinct job that.
Because we got magistrates, and they're kind of like when I lived in Wisconsin. I think they're like your county board supervisors. They call
No.
them
Yeah,
magistrates here. We have constables here.
we actually have two justices of the peace um, jobs open right now in our county, and it's like one of them's the east side of the county, and one of them's precinct 1 and precinct 2, and they just magistrate over. If somebody dies in their home, they have to go to their home and pronounce them. Yeah, this person's deader than a doornail. The justice of the peace job. It's not. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
ours
stuff that
usually we
goes
had a
into it.
coroner.
They had the coroner do that in
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Here the magistrates here in North Carolina, the magistrates are like junior judges. They deal with all the arrests.
I thought that's what it was like here, but I don't think so. I think here it's kind of like your county board. They don't elect it. I think that's what they're calling the supervisors. Is you have like these our counties in six districts, and you have a magistrate from each district. And I think what they are is like a county board. Because like here where I'm not in the city, so I'm out in the county. But like when I lived in Wisconsin, I didn't live in the city, but we had a township. We have no township. We don't have a town board. We don't have any of that. We're just called a community. We just
Yeah, all
follow
the
the
Texas
county
Highway
rule.
Patrol sends all their tickets to the
Yeah.
JP, and they do the collecting or sentencing or whatever. Yeah, just pay your fine and go on.
I'm a firm believer in the fact that they need to have, don't matter what party you're affiliated with or what your preference is, that you should only be able to get campaign contributions from people that can vote for you. I think
Well,
if they
that's a
took
good
away
one.
all this damn
That's
money,
good.
if they
I
took
agree
away
with you.
all this money, these millions of dollars people have to spend, my fucking phone wouldn't ring all the time and want me to vote for people I have no idea who the hell they are, or the TV, or I look at a YouTube video and somebody's campaign's popping up. They wouldn't have that
We
money.
get, well, this past presidential election, we would get like robocalls and they'd leave messages on our answering machine for Wisconsin elections that were going on during in 20 at the same time as the presidential, the under ticket. We would get calls for that. And you want to know something scarier? We were sent Wisconsin absentee
Yeah,
ballots
we could have very easily voted.
in
We
Wisconsin.
didn't.
They're practically encouraging it. I'm like,
See,
wow.
that would have made y'all rich. If you had done a YouTube video about that, you would have been rich with all the damn views.
Yeah.
At the time, Fox News paid for you to be on their show, and all the different news networks paid for you to be on your show. You would have been rich. You wouldn't have been hustling damn junk on eBay.
How did that make us rich? Oh, look at that. How did they get rich? They got sent Wisconsin absentee ballots,
Yeah.
but they didn't send them back in.
We get booted off YouTube so fast it
Yeah.
make your head spin.
We'd have been
Tara
spreading
could ride a horse and
misinformation.
Jim could play with his trucks.
Would have been disconnect.
I got a phone back during back during the primary when Hillary was in the in the show. I got a call. I got a call about wanting to know if I would support Hillary, and I said, I'm not even a fucking Democrat. Why are you calling me? I can't even vote if I wanted to vote for her because I'm registered Republican.
Yeah, see, up in Wisconsin, we didn't have to register with a party. Now, when I moved here, I registered Republican. I really shouldn't have. I should have registered as an independent because then I could vote in either primary.
Yeah, because that's what everybody does in Wisconsin. Whatever candidate you don't like in the other party, or you think that it's a loser in the other party, in the primary you always vote the other party's ticket
for the worst candidate.
For the worst candidate. Everybody does it. There's somebody who votes for the Democrat, and the Democrats vote for the Republican. They all do it that way. It's just
Jim, I'm gonna get you to be my campaign manager, son.
Y'all are vindictive little voters, aren't you? Little vindictive.
Very political.
Yeah.
Very split. Very divided. It's great.
But this justice of the peace gal came up to my door and I said, "Look, my next door neighbor has a sign in their yard supporting you, and my next door neighbor on the other side of me has a sign supporting your other person. How does that make me feel?" And she said, she just laughed. It was hilarious.
Yeah, we were just talking about it today. We don't know who we got to vote for sheriff down here because I really don't know the locals that well.
Well, call them up and say, I got some fence posts that need to be fixed. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to go in and vote or not.
I thought about that. I thought about actually calling the candidate. Well, why not? Just ask them, what's your story?
Yeah. I get stuff like this every day in the mail now on the March voter thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just nuts right now. And they're all Republicans. Everybody's a Republican in Texas. I got how many of these do I have? These all came in the mail.
What else would you be? Oh yeah, that's right. There's that other party. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, but you gotta go down to Austin to find the Democrats, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, look at all these. People are spending big bucks. I wish I had all the money they spent on to mail these things out to me,
That's just it. Why are they not paying 39 cents or whatever the hell first class mail is now instead of this bulk rate? Because you know what I do? I gather it all up and I drop it in the blue box.
Yeah, I
Somebody
know.
else.
And look at all the poor trees that died to make all those stupid flyers.
That's right.
There he
You
is.
know, and
Look,
half the people running are not worth the trees that
Political ones.
they
John
use.
Carter is standing
Go
right
to
there
bed.
next to
That's superimposed.
Trump. Yeah, I support. Trump supports John Carter. Yeah, there you go.
What was that woman that was the mayor and then she I think the Dallas and then she became governor? It's been a long time ago. Older woman, gray hair.
What did she do?
She was like a mayor and then she became the governor of Texas.
Oh,
And she was a
White.
Democrat. You know
I
what I'm talking
forgot her
about?
name.
Wasn't her last name White?
No, I don't think so. She was
Oh,
white,
okay.
but she was. I don't
Well-
think that was her name.
God, hang on. I'll look it up. Google.
That's okay. Don't worry
The
about
guy
it.
from North Carolina is arguing with the guy from Texas on who the governor was of Texas.
I
I think it
care.
was
I mean,
GW.
I just remember she was like supposed to have been the golden child for Texas, and I think she lasted a couple of terms.
Yeah, she wasn't a horrible governor. She was okay.
She lasted a couple of terms. See, now in North Carolina, our governor has term limits. We don't get them, and they stay. They get the boot automatically.
Ann Richards.
That's it.
Yeah, that was her. Was she after GW?
She was after Bill Clements and right before George W.
Oh, she was right before him. I thought she was right after him.
She was okay. She was just a governor. She's kind of like Margaret Thatcher a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I
No,
like Margaret Thatcher.
no, John. No stars. No, I didn't have any feeling of sitting by a campfire watching the stars. I'm disappointed. I think I'm going to sue them for false advertising.
But she was Democrat, but that was back when Democrats were like Bill Clinton. They weren't they weren't all that bad back then. The Democrats got bad after
if you were to
Clinton.
run like Bill Clinton, the candidate from the early '90s, now he couldn't run as a Democrat.
Yeah, Bill Clinton was actually a whole lot like Trump.
Trump was a Democrat. He was a registered Democrat in New York.
He was. Yeah. There isn't a whole lot of difference between what Bill Clinton was back then and Trump was when he was in office.
Well, that's like JFK. They say JFK would be more of a Republican than a Democrat nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
You think a Democrat would take on Cuba like Kennedy did back in the day? No.
Yeah.
It's like I said, who the hell wants these jobs? I mean, to go out and intentionally try to get these positions because they don't do anything except fatten up their wallets. Don't matter who they are, they're all a bunch of greedy bastards.
Well, that's why you want the job. It's influence peddling.
Yeah, but if you fart wrong, it's in the media. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
okay though, because I mean, if you're making enough money, you'll do it.
Did you see where Tara's girl over in New York, AOC, she's wanting Biden to intervene with the truckers up in Canada?
What did she want?
AOC wants Biden to intervene.
And do what?
It beats the hell out of me. I didn't read the whole article because I
Well,
thought,
that Ilhan Omar.
She did come out about, was that? Oh, that was when the news media got the names of people that donated, like to that Give, Send, Go, and then they were like contacting him and stuff. Ilhan Omar came out against that. Now, I can tell you, I don't agree with anything Ilhan Omar does politically, but I would agree with that statement.
did they canceled one of those, I don't know whether it's a GoFundMe or one of them, and they said they were going to donate it to the money to charity. But somebody told them that if they did, they had to return it to the donators, or they would be charged with theft because they don't have the
You
right.
had people doing chargebacks because they use their credit card or whatever.
Yeah.
To do that chargebacks. I mean, that costs that company a lot of money.
So and I think Mr. Biden needs to just keep his nose in our problems and not let those lunatics in Canada. And I'm sorry if there's any lunatics in Canada listening to my show, but
It's pretty scary when the government is freezing people's bank accounts. I mean, that
yeah,
is
Oh,
scary just
jeez.
because you don't agree. And I watched the
There was
videos.
peaceful.
They were very
protesters.
peaceful.
You never
No
seen protesters
damage.
that damn polite. I
Yeah.
mean, it was you just wanted to say, why don't you just do something? But they just let them. They just let themselves be dragged, and just okay. Well, we got to do it, because they're just a bunch of law-abiding people.
Yeah.
It's jacked up. I mean, I really made me. If you do watch the stuff, it made me sick. I honestly made me sick to my stomach watching it.
it's just, you know what? People just have too much free time on their hands. I mean, to just do all this shit, and these politicians are not dealing with the problems that we have instead of all this other crap.
Yep.
I mean, really, they just don't. They're not focused. Yeah, Mike, it's totally screwed. The whole damn political scene in both countries, the world in general. I've got a friend that's from England, and he's bitching all the time about those idiots over there, and he's not talking about the royal family. He's talking about Parliament, the House of Commons, and whatnot. It's everywhere, and that's because people just allow it. They allow it. And I'm gonna say, if anybody young is listening, happens to be listening to this show, because I think it's an old people show, all this free money, all this money that's going to be wiping out your student loans and stuff like that.
But they didn't wipe out any student loans.
Oh,
did
they're
they?
going to do 500 million. You're going to be paying for it. My kids are going to be paying for it. My grandkids are going to be paying for it. My great-grandkids are going to be paying for it.
I thought all they did was they just have it because of the COVID. They still suspended the, payment, the repayment on them. But I don't think they wiped them out.
First of all, I haven't heard any. I haven't. Okay, if you went to a private university or private college, too fucking bad. If you went to a state school and they want to work out a deal, knock yourself out. But any private people, people that went to Brown and got a woman's, they got an art major from Brown, which is 300.
I mean, they have to be a very good student.
I'll send your kid to high school because that's the way it's set up. We got free school, free through high school. And it's my taxes. Even if my kids ain't, or I don't even have any. Let's say I didn't have any kids, I still got to pay the taxes to send a kid to school. Okay, I get that. But why am I paying taxes to send your kid off to college? I mean, that just don't make any sense to me.
Well,
what I did when I went to college, I got a damn job.
Yeah, but college tuition, what was your tuition?
Well, it was lower then.
Yeah.
Okay, tuition's nothing. Okay, tuition's only about unless you get to some of the, like up north, it gets high. But around here, tuition is like $3,500.
Yeah, I think what was it when you went to school, Jim, for a year?
$1,400.
$1,400 a year.
Room and board was.
That's not what the expensive part is. It's the room and board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my opinion is, if they forgive all of this student debt, somebody should have to pay taxes as income, because they didn't have to support their child.
So when Jim went to college and he graduated in 89.
88.
Okay, so it's $1,400 plus. Then of course he worked as an RA, so he got his room and board was taken off for being an RA,
which was huge.
Which was huge for him. But
now you just get a paycheck.
His brother's daughter is just entered school. She went to the UP of Michigan, but to go to Point, which is not it isn't UW Madison. It's a smaller UW school. I mean, now I think it's like around 11 or 12,000 for the year just for the tuition.
Guess how much my college tuition was per semester hour when I started college in 1974.
How much? 800.
$35.
One semester hour, and I took 16 hours my first semester. Guess how much?
I'll say,
$180.
well, it's probably like 600.
Just one of the 16 hours.
How much?
Didn't I say like? Oh, you say for 1 hour?
$4.
Oh, how much?
$4.
Oh wow.
What's 4 times 16? That's how much my tuition was
About 70
per
bucks.
semester hour.
Oh wow.
Mr. Sadie, my doctor, we were talking one day when I was in for a physical.
It
and
went
I
up
said,
quick
any of
after
your
that, but
children, is any of your children going to be doctors? He said, no. He said, one of my sons is a plumber and the other one is a carpenter. And I said, how did you feel about that? They didn't go into the medical profession. He says, I'm glad because they make more money and have a lot less hassle doing that than they do what I do.
yeah.
And I understand that because you know what? I'll bitch because I pay $400 to get a tube of blood drawn. But by God, if somebody comes, it's going to cost me $500 to get my heat and air conditioning system operating. So I'm either hot I'm cooled off or I'm warmed up. Get that debit card out and run her through there, buddy. Get me hooked up. I mean, and people, if you call an HVAC guy here in Charlotte, you're on it might be 3 or 4 days before they can get out here because they just don't have any people. I mean, they have people, but there's not enough people to go around. The service techs and whatnot.
Yeah, welders make a lot of money. I mean, you can do that with a technical course or you don't go to a 4-year college. I think sometimes people go to a 4-year college, and when they're going into college, they really don't know what they're going to do with the college education or what their goals are after college.
First of all, by the time you graduate, your first 2 years of college, what's considered the base courses for college should be taken care of. Why take history in high school and then have to turn around and take it again in college? And it's the same damn thing. U.S. history has not changed between.
Because they got to have the history teachers doing something so they make a paycheck.
Well, that's
got to give a coach something to teach besides coaching.
Yeah.
Our coach in high school, he taught general math besides coach. But they just and you know what? They keep talking about the CPCC, which is our community college. If you go to school for something like HVAC, plumbing, auto mechanics, something like that, then the tuition's free. I don't have a problem with it because you're going to be able to make a living. These people that's going into school for, art. Can you make a living at it? Are you a talented artist or are you a talented musician? Can you make a living at it? And the worst job I would wish on anybody from my teacher friends is a teacher. I know
That's
I'm
what
all for
Brandon is talking about doing.
Hey, don't pay any attention to me. It's the
That's what Brandon is talking about now. Maybe being
What's
a
that?
teacher. Being a teacher.
Beat his ass.
Why?
No.
I mean, if you go through college and you start, I'm like, it ain't a bad idea. You got your summers off. If you want to be like a middle school teacher, you get your summers off. You get pretty much all the vacation. You get winter break, spring break off. And if you get you probably can retire by the time
He loves to
you're
mansplain.
55, 60.
He loves to over-explain stuff.
Yep. That's what I did, Tom. Don't run down us teachers.
You have a different. When I was a kid in
I
high
mean, I
school,
wouldn't want to. Yeah,
if
would
I
you
got in
want to?
trouble
I
at
don't know if
school,
you'd
my
want to
dad
be
would
a
have beat
teacher in
my
the
ass.
inner city, because you probably do have to deal with a lot of problems. But I mean, if you stay something in a smaller community like we live in, I mean, yeah, it's probably actually pretty
Yeah.
good. Like,
Inner city problems.
well, like
depends on the
places where you
school
have more
district.
crime,
Okay, Mrs. Rachel Jungle.
I didn't. I said places where you have crimes. Yeah, if you go teach school, like I don't know, in Chicago, yeah, you'd probably have a
You're
different
just-
experience.
I went to school in Chicago. It was just fine.
Yeah, well, you were kind of a jerk.
Liar, Mr. Liar, land chart picker. It's only 9:39 your time. If you're in bed trying to go to sleep, then this is a fake post photo that you got on your
Yeah, Jim went to a 4-year college and he did none of that for a career. I mean, he had a good time, but yeah, he didn't.
I did have a good time.
Yeah, but you didn't use any of your degree for what your career was.
Senior year, the best 3 years of my life.
You were a business major?
Public administration.
Double major. I have public administration and political science, and a minor in small city analysis.
Sounds like you should have run for office.
I could. I worked. I had what turned me off on it was my last semester in school. I had an internship at the courthouse, and the local government was so cockeyed and crooked. I'm like, I could never do this. I could not work with these people. I don't know how the hell they sleep at night. So I took a different job. I went into sales.
You were a Century 21 person, weren't you?
Not yet. No, originally I managed a shoe store for
Okay.
a shoe store chain.
Trade home.
Paid good. I could tell you I had to sell real estate for 3 years before I caught up to what I was making selling shoes.
All right, guys, I'm going to bed.
What time is it? Shoot, it's
yeah,
11
it's probably
o'clock.
about time.
Okay. Good night, Todd.
Good night.
Night.
Yeah, it is getting late. I need to go to bed too.
My brain is filled with knowledge.
Do what?
My brain is filled up with knowledge. I can't hold no more.
You're not making her any money, though, are you? It's kind of scary these days. Kids trying to figure out. Good night, Mr. Sadie. Oh, you're talking to Todd. It's kind of scary. Kids coming out of school now, wondering about their future, trying to figure out what they're going to do to make a living. I mean, it's just tough. And nowadays, like I said, the HVA, the plumbing, all that kind of stuff, the carpenter. Get somebody to come hang a door in your house. It's going to cost you a couple of $100, not including the door.
Who pays to have a door hung in their house?
Shut up. I had 6 hung.
Oh, God.
I got a college degree. I know how to hang a door.
Well, good for you.
They taught us. That's freshman year they teach that.
I'm going to tell you what, you can make more money hanging doors than selling crap on eBay.
I want to tell you, squaring a door is not easy. Actually,
No,
I mean,
it's not.
seriously, it's not hanging a door right. It ain't easy.
That's the reason I call a professional. I've had enough screw ups in my life. Your dad was probably the same way, since we kind of have the same thoughts on some things. If he didn't know how to do it, let's try and see if we can get it done and it look right. Whether it's right or not, it needs to look right. So I learned how to do a lot. I know I sound like I'm uppity and whatnot, but I learned how to do. When on my cars, I changed brake shoes and brake pads and oil and all that kind of stuff in the driveway of our house. And I knew how to do a lot of things, but people don't do it now, And it's cheaper. It's cheaper to take my car out to Jiffy Lube and have them change the oil in it than it is for me to go buy all the stuff with the $15 disposal fees and all that kind of crap now.
You just dig a hole and you pour it in the dirt, and then you put the dirt back
That's
on top
not
of it, and
being
it goes
used.
away.
You
That's-
paint your trailer boards with it.
Yeah, it keeps the trailer boards from rotting.
I don't have anything to paint it. I don't have a trailer.
Or get yourself a trailer.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It works real good for. You give it to your brother-in-law, and then you paint the. If he has any wood fence or wood stall walls, you put that drain oil on it, and the horses won't chew on it.
Or when you do your burn pile in the backyard.
I don't have a. I live in the city.
Well,
The
what if
police,
you got a bunch of
sheriff's
panels?
department,
What if
everything.
you got like? Let's just say hypothetical. You got like a fiberglass boat, a stack of rubber tires. You need some drain oil as an accelerant
Yeah.
to get that stuff burning
Take
good.
it out to the
Yo,
backyard and light her up.
Y'all love just jacking me around, don't you?
You know we
what?
like you.
See, even Mike said hanging doors is a pain in the ass.
Well, it is.
It is.
Thank you, Mike. I mean,
You know what's the worst is stretching carpet. That sucks.
I've never done
You
that.
only carpet your house one time. I carpeted my house once. I'll never do it again. I
I'll put
got it
down
done.
hardwood
It looked
floors
good,
before
but
I
man, it was
do
not
that.
easy.
Did you hear me? I'd put down hardwood floors before I started stretching carpet, and they
Oh,
get
man,
me a
I
throw
tried that.
rug.
And I'm allergic to formaldehyde, so it was real bad because that padding has formaldehyde in it. My lips were all swole up. It was making me sick.
You know, when I was speaking of formaldehyde, when I was I started 7th grade. They had added on to an existing middle school, and I was lucky enough to be in the new part of the building. Well, they were going to try carpet in the rooms that year. You could not for the first week you could not go in the classroom because the carpet was only like a month old, and the smell, the formaldehyde was so heavy in it that the windows had to stay open in the room all the time, and we had class in the daggum lunchroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't think I could have done it. I got a real sensitivity to formaldehyde. I mean, it makes me start choking. My lips swell up. I got a real bad reaction to it.
You're gonna have a problem when you die then.
I'm going right in the oven. They don't have to formaldehyde me.
I'll tell him that. Don't put formaldehyde on him. He's allergic to it.
No, pre-hung don't make no difference. The only kind of doors I'll hang is right over there is a set of bifold doors dividing the den and the kitchen. I mean the sunroom.
Oh my God!
That's because I could put the top track up, and I could take a left and bottom pieces where they're supposed to be, and I could move that door around until I got it straight like it needed to be. I'm not going to start hanging a pre-hung door where, just my luck, it won't be right, and then I'll have to listen to my wife.
Yeah,
so.
the door I was talking about that's real pain in the ass to get squared is a pre-hung door. I mean,
Well,
if you
that's
go
what I'm
weird,
talking
you
about,
do an opening and then make the door fit in the opening and stuff like that from scratch while being pre-hung, I would never attempt that.
Yeah, we had
That's a carpenter. That ain't
we had
Norbert's
Norbert's neighbor, old Jim. Yeah, he wasn't a good carpenter either, and Norbert went and helped him with the door because he's out there with a chainsaw trying to get it with a pre-hung door. Like he's using his chainsaw to cut make it bigger, something like that. Norbert's like, he went over. My uncle's a pretty good carpenter.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not really a good carpenter.
I had 2 doors hung at the end of our house, and they came up with the doors from Lowe's, and within an hour and a half they were packing up to leave. They had the doors hung perfectly. He had a couple of tables he set out, put his battery powered saws on it, and he had his battery powered screwdrivers and whatnot. By the time he had all his tools set out ready to go, his helper had to rip the old doors out, and they were putting them back in. Like I said, in an hour and a half, they were gone.
Were you kicking the doors in? Is that why you needed it?
It would have taken an hour and a half for me to gather up all the crap to do it before I even started trying to hang the door.
Did you come home late one night and kick the door in?
Well, it wasn't late one night, but it was in the afternoon. I left my keys sitting on the counter, and my 2 grown children didn't have their keys because they just didn't think they needed it. And we couldn't get back in the house, and I just took my foot and kicked that motherfucker in.
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
it just did.
Oh,
And I
Okay.
did it. So
Okay.
that cost us a new door and a.
Oh my
and a-
God. Okay, Tom, if this ever happens to you again, you get your ass back in your automobile, you drive to Walmart, you buy the cheapest battery powered drill they got, and get yourself a 1/4-inch drill bit. Go back, use a 1/4-inch drill bit to drill out your lock, and then go back and buy. Well, actually, you should buy the lock set while you're there. They're $10. Buy a $10 lock set, a $14 battery operated drill, and whatever the drill bit costs, and that'll get you in your house.
Oh my God, Jim did that. We come down here from Wisconsin. I'm like, we're leaving Wisconsin. I'm like, you got the keys to the house in Kentucky, right? Oh yeah, they're on the ring. We come down here, he don't have the keys. So we had to go back into Walmart, buy a drill so he could drill the lock out. He bought
But
another
then
lock.
kick the door in or break
Yeah.
the window.
and
I'd
then,
have kicked that motherfucker in. I mean, really.
well, next time get the
I think-
drill.
Go.
I was so mad that my grandchildren did not. I have been carrying a key around in my pocket since I was 13 years old. I mean, my house key. And then when I started driving, I had a car key and it went on my key ring. I was just so infuriated. I just kicked that damn door in.
Oh boy.
Don't get Tom mad.
No. Well, I needed to replace the door anyway. But
It's a good excuse.
I like people to lock up their house because they think it's going to keep people out. Because in my volunteer firefighter experience, when we roll up on a house and nobody's home, we don't wait for somebody to show up to go in the house and go put the fire out. We're in your house within 30 seconds.
yeah.
And these are not trained burglars. If your house has a window, somebody can get in your house when it's locked. The only thing the lock does is it lets you know that somebody's trying to get in the house, so you got time to.
Well, I guess if you got the alarm
prepare.
system where all those sensors on like the windows and that, I guess it would at least notify like ADT or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. Hey, by the way, we have a key outside now.
Well, that works too. Actually, I did the same thing. I put a key out in the garage.
Oh, good! You're telling everybody on YouTube there's a key in our garage.
We haven't locked the door. Well, I guess you guys.
I
Don't.
lock them at night.
When I grew up, unless we would leave town for Florida. It's the only time for a week. That was the only time we ever locked our house. The rest of the year, the door was always open, whether we were
Yeah,
home
but
or not.
that's when you drove a horse and buggy to school too, Jim.
Keys always in the ignition of the car. We don't even pull. Even here, we don't pull the keys out of the
If
ignition.
you go
Well,
to our
they're out in the
driveway,
cup holder.
Every single car in our yard has the keys in it.
Yeah, but how many? And I'm not saying this to be ugly or not, but y'all seem to have a run on bad luck on vehicles. The law will be here by the time you figure out which one you can drive away, because Jim hadn't fixed the front
Well,
end.
all three of ours that are here run.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
And I say that with love, Jim.
Yeah.
I love you people. You're not. There's nothing
No,
uppity about
Tom, they're not broken. We're always just modifying them. We're improving them.
you. Is that what it's
Tweaking
called?
them.
Is that what it's called?
Hyper modifying them.
My brother buys brand new pickup trucks. His trucks are in the shop more than mine is. I can tell you that, or more than mine needs work. Of course, he's on. He always buys them. He'll get rid of them when the warranty's out.
Yeah.
But man, he's always, oh yeah, I'm driving the wife's minivan because my truck's in the shop. I mean, the amount of time that truck sits in the shop.
Oh, it's a Dodge. It's
you should
always
buy
in
them
the
two at a
shop.
time.
It's a beautiful
He has
truck.
to go with the Ford. That was always in the shop too.
Yeah, but anytime it makes any kind of weird noise, and he's got like super alert hearing to anything that
always
sounds
right.
weird.
There's always something wrong with it.
Jim, my dad bought a brand new, and don't say anything ugly, brand new 1978 Ford F-150 pickup truck.
Okay, we won't say
That's
anything.
how
so
we know
you could drive about 3 miles and it would cut off with you.
Oh, like
Now,
stop running?
My dad had a fuse that was about that long. After about the fourth time, you turn it off, let it sit for a while, for about 15, 20 minutes, crank it back up. You'd run for another few minutes. He took that thing to the Ford place, and they worked on that sucker for a week. They would get in it, they would drive it. The head mechanic, the sales manager, everybody would drive that damn truck. They ended up starting at the carburetor, and they stripped everything off of that, including the fuel tank, and put everything brand new, everything back on it, and it worked fine. They never could figure out what was causing the problem.
Was that just Dodge or was that Ford where they had that ceramic resistor? If it got wet, it would quit running. Was that
Dodge
Dodge?
for sure. I don't know if Ford had it or
Oh.
not.
Yeah, it was on the firewall, but water would get to it by the windshield, and you'd be driving and
I
it
had it
stopped.
when I was in high school. I had a 1977. There was a Ram Charger. Also, mine was a Plymouth, so it's a trail duster, but it's like a Dodge Ram Charger. It was a shovel hood, so you had those two indentations on the hood. When it was raining, if you opened up the hood and the car was hot, the water would go down the firewall, and on the firewall was a ceramic resistor that would then crack, and you could crank that thing till the cows came home, and it would stop. It stopped the spark to your distributor. The truck could never start. You had to keep one of those resistors in the glove box in case somebody opened up the hood when it was wet, or had been sitting when it rained out. Because that water would sit in that shovel hood. It was a stupid design. But anyway,
a guy across the street has a 60. He has it's a brand new 1968 Ford pickup truck. He's had that thing stripped to the chassis and rebuilt completely out. It's got 4-wheel disc brakes on it. It didn't even have disc brakes on it when it was new. Anyway, I said, "Why did you spend all that money for that truck?" And he said, "First of all, I've always wanted that style of truck. I didn't spend nowhere near what I could buy a stripped down pickup truck for now."
No.
And he's like, and I'm like, okay. And he said, there is nothing on it electrical other than the starter, the battery, the lights, the radio, the heater, and the air conditioner. There's no computers. There's no nothing. It's got a new engine in it. I mean, it's totally a new vehicle. But because it's a 68 pickup truck, he doesn't have to do emissions on it. But
we don't have emissions here.
Do you not? We do.
No. Well, you live in Charlotte. You're in the city, metro.
Yeah. South Carolina doesn't even have inspections anymore because everybody was just driving up and they were coming out and scraping the old inspection sticker off of it and putting a new one on, sort of like in Louisiana and Alabama. And then they would get their little sheet that they had to fill out. They'd check everything off that everything worked on it, and
yeah,
it all came to a head when this inspector from Columbia came in, and he was driving this car, and he just about drove through the man's garage doors because the brakes didn't work on it or was not very functioning. And he passed him and gave him a sticker. Of course, he lost his license to do inspections, and there were some criminal charges too.
Oh my God!
Then everybody that was on his little list that he had issued inspection stickers had to come back in and have them re-inspected.
You got those? Do you have to pay taxes on your vehicle, like PVA, property value taxes?
We have property taxes on our vehicles.
Yeah, so do we. But in the state of Kentucky, because the used vehicle market increased so much that because they use that NADA, it was calling for 40% increases in values of cars. So they actually rolled it back to last year's values because you had people just screaming that their property value taxes on their vehicles was going to go up by 40%.
It's people are. When I had the transmission put in the Saturn, I thought about getting another Mazda because I've been real happy with them. and they were like, "It's got needs a transmission. Don't care. We'll take it and put a transmission in it, and still make money off of it."
Yeah.
And I just decided I just didn't want to spend that money. I'd rather spend the $4,000 to have the transmission put in it. And I've got like 100,000 miles warranty on it. So if it lasts for 100,000 miles, I will have gotten my 4,000 out of it.
How much do they tax you on your cars there? Is it like $10 of every 1,000?
I think Roberta's Mazda is like $236.
Yeah, I know. I have a friend whose truck was worth 40 grand, so it cost about $400 a year plus then your registration.
You know,
Yeah, but if you have a $100,000 pickup truck, that's $1,000 a year in PVA taxes on it.
but you know what? It doesn't take very much of a truck to be a $100,000 truck.
No, it doesn't. I mean, honestly, like if you have a 3/4, I haven't really looked, but 3/4 ton, 1 ton, yeah, you could definitely be north of 90 on it.
I mean, just a Ford F-150 XLT with a 6-cylinder and all the bells and buzzers is about $50,000.
Yeah.
I mean, you start bumping up to a 250 or a 350 and
And
start
you put a
adding
diesel engine in it.
huh?
And a diesel engine's always more.
Yeah, you start adding all that stuff into it, and it's going to be knocking I mean, even a car, if you can find a car for sale, everything's just out of this world.
My box truck, when I went to go register it, the guy looked at it and said, "Oh, that's old." So he when he gave me back the paperwork, he valued it at $100. Now the state didn't like that, so they jacked it up to $300. So I got this box truck that I drive around. It's valuated at $300. My license plates cost $24 a year.
Yeah, what was we paying in Wisconsin?
I was paying because it was a heavy truck. It's a 12,000-pound truck. I was paying like it's a quarterly plates. It cost me $60 a quarter. So that's 200
$60 a quarter.
120, so 240.
Yeah,
$240 a year to run the truck. And down here it cost me $24 or $24 or $26 for the whole year.
Yeah, we got a plate on my hay trailer, and you don't have to have plates on trailers down here, but that trailer is going to go up to Wisconsin, so I said we should put a license plate on it. The PVA on it is like $8 for the year.
A 12,000-pound trailer, yeah, $12 for a year. In Wisconsin, that was like $60.
It doesn't matter how many miles. I mean, what the year of it is. It's how many miles it has on it. That's justifies your taxes here.
No,
they really
don't even look at your mileage here. They do this thing where they look at the NADA and they take the medium price. They don't take the poor price. They don't take the bad condition price, or the excellent is the one in the middle.
They take the NADA book. That's it. I mean, yeah, if you're driving a new car here, you're getting hammered. Up north, we never had no taxes like this, but I understand why. Because we built cars up north, and how the hell can you sell new cars to people when you got that much of a thing? I mean, whatever discouragement against buying a new car, because they're going to kill you on registration. Everybody's going to wind up driving, 10-year-old cars because they can get by in the registration unless they got
wrong with driving a 10-year-old car.
Oh, we do. Ours are older than that.
Listen, we don't buy cars until they quit working. Every car that we have gotten rid of and replaced was either due to an auto accident or they just flat quit running because they were, they had 300,000 miles on them. And, but my brother has, he's a land surveyor and his guys are on the road all the time. So he might have a 3-year-old truck that's got 150,000 miles on it. Well, when it hits 100,000 miles, he sends their secretary down to the tax assessor's office, and she gets adjustment on all of their taxes because it's got such high miles.
Yeah, here they don't do that.
No.
Mind you, it's making just as much money and serving the same purpose with that 100,000 miles on it as it did with 1,000 miles on it. but that's just the way they think.
When I first come down here, I kind of went round and around with the PVA office lady. And she was kind of baggy acting. I had that expedition. I brought in the paperwork where I bought it from the state of Wisconsin online auction. I think I paid like $1,075 for it. And she wanted to value it at like $4,500. I'm like, ma'am, it is not worth that much. And here's the paperwork. Well, this isn't official Wisconsin paperwork, and it's a big pain in the ass. So she ended up valuing it at like 2,600 or $3,000 or something.
Well, she wanted to value it $4,000.
Yeah, she wanted to value it at $4,500. And boy, I kind of went round and round
We
with
brought
her.
her the auction receipt to prove.
But she didn't want to take it, remember? I'm like, it says state of Wisconsin right on it. This is when I bought it. Oh, because they want you, because what's the thing? They don't know if you paid the taxes on it in the other states, so they want you to have the original thing when you bought the car with what you paid, that you paid tax on it. But nobody in Wisconsin saves that.
But their titles show what you paid in property taxes. Wisconsin titles do not show that.
Yeah.
Because we don't have personal property tax.
Screwy the tax. How screwy the tax office is. Okay, in South Carolina, mobile homes are not. They are licensed as a vehicle, not as like a house or whatnot.
Yeah.
Or taxed. Anyway, my brother and his wife they bought a mobile home. It was a used thing while they were building their house, and they lived in it. And then when the house was ready and they got their CO on their house, they moved in the house, and then they sold the mobile home. Well, 10 years later, my brother gets a tax notice where he hasn't paid taxes on that mobile home in 10 years.
Yeah.
Plus penalty and interest. It was something like $8,000.
Huh.
And most of it was a penalty and interest. He went down there, and he and the tax assessor went around and around and around for about an hour. Because what you do is when you transfer the title, you have to then, like you go to the DMV and get a title transfer on it so it can be hauled. Then you go down to the tax assessor's office and you have to get a sticker to go on it that says it's been registered in the county. Well, they had gone down, and the people that bought it, which had a mobile home park, and Terry knew where it was at. He went and took a picture of the sticker on the end of the trailer. So where the tax assessors had issued it, and he said, "What's the deal here?" My brother's like, "Why am I getting a tax notice when your paperwork should show that these people had it?" Well, they hadn't been getting a tax notice because they were still wanting to send the tax notice to my brother.
Huh.
So it got kind of nasty. Now, mind you, they were using it as a rental property, which the tax value is different, and the new owner, he was willing to pay what Terry had because it was still like $3,000 cheaper than what he owed on it. So they ended up, for the person that bought it from my brother, they ended up taking all the penalties and taxes, and he just had to pay for the past due taxes on it.
Well, like here, like when we lived in Wisconsin, like let's say you sold a car, and the person comes, gives you cash, you sign the title, transaction's done. They take the title, you have your money, end of story. Here,
Right.
like if you sell a car, you gotta go down to the PVA office with the buyer so you can get that title out of your name. Because if that title for whatever reason sits in your name, you get charged a property value tax on it. But let's say you go in to register a different vehicle like a couple of years later, and maybe for whatever reason it didn't get transferred, you get charged the taxes on this other vehicle that's still titled in your name. They won't let you. You have to pay that other vehicle's taxes before you can register your car. Anyway, even if it's a different vehicle. Because I'll be standing in line and they'll be like, "Well, you got this one, this one, this one. You owe this much in taxes," and people are like, "Oh, I don't have that much money," Anyway, that way it's a little goofy here for that kind of stuff.
Mr. Sadie's sitting over there going, "Well, we don't have tags on our cars in in Missouri." It's just crazy how they come up with some of the crap that they come up. Now, when my mom bought a new car, and she gave her old Honda to us for the boys to drive. It's a 2002 Honda CRV with 70,000 miles on it.
Uh-huh.
My mom literally only drove it to church
Hmm.
and the grocery store and to get her hair done. But we filled out all the paperwork. I went online because I've never purchased any or did a title on North Carolina that wasn't through a dealer. So I went in and I printed all this paperwork out, and we signed it and notarized it. And I went into the DMV, and the girl, I said, here. And I handed her all the paperwork and the title and everything because, of course, my mom had the title for it. And she handed me everything back except for the bill of sale and the original title, that my mom had on it. And I said, you don't need anything? She said, no, this was from a parent to a child, so you don't need any of this other stuff. I said, why doesn't it say that on the website? And she said, and by that time the department manager walked by and she said, it doesn't say that on there. And I said, if it is, please show me where it's at. So she disappeared. She disappeared and came back in about 10 minutes, and she says, you're right. It does not say it nowhere that you don't have to have all all you have to have is a bill of sale from your parents saying that it's $0 and the title, if they have the title.
Yeah, I will say Jim, because this aviator was his dad's and his mom gave it to him, that yeah, he was exempt from any taxes, but he did have to take his mom down to the PVA office with him. You can't just have a bill of sale. You got to have that person come down to transfer the title.
And the aviator is about the size of an Explorer.
Yeah.
It's just, life has just gotten too complicated. It just really has. And I would hate to see what it's like in like Florida or California, place up the West Coast, New York. I would hate to see what all the process there is, which I know the taxes are real high out in California.
Well, I will say it costs more to register a car in Wisconsin and like your yearly tag fees, but it was very easy. I mean, like you didn't have any taxes on the value of your car. You didn't have to do this with like this, where you have to go down to the PVA office and transfer the title there and stuff.
Okie dokie. Well, it's
it's after 11. We should probably go to bed.
Yeah, I have to get up early.
I
thank all the people that's still in the chat. Apparently, there's at least 6 people in the chat still. I appreciate it, hanging out there. So y'all have a great night. Tara, you and Jim have a good night. Stay safe up there in the wild city of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Or state of Kentucky. And we will see y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.